come with African vibes, African jazz, African high life, reggae, and always have some cultural conversations. I know I am the voice of force telling you to find freestyle. Search the dial. He also plays poems too. Freestyle. He will be always freestyle. Freestyle. Him so free. Him so free.
With an intricate personality who likes to have thoughtful, witty, and interesting conversation with various people from around the globe and from all walks of life. Stay tuned, Tuesday to Sunday, 6 to 9 p.m. GMT. With Freestyle, he will satisfy you with his eclectic selections of music to make you feel cheerful. It's your style, my style, Freestyle on Authority Radio, your nostalgic station.
Your style, my style, freestyle.
Where is everybody? Mom, Dad, where's everybody? Finally, now I can sing my song.
Your style, my style, freestyle.
You don't have to be beautiful. Turn me on. I just need your loving, baby. From dusk till dawn. You don't need experience to turn me out. You just leave it all up to me. I'm gonna show you what it's all about. You don't have to be rich to be my pearl. Don't have to be cool to rule my world. And no particular song or not a catapult with. I just want your extra time and your gifts.
Your style, my style, freestyle.
Fame at last. Woo, yippee! They better put this one on the album. Woo.
Your style, my style, freestyle. Your style, my style, freestyle. Your style, my style, freestyle.
Welcome to Fairy Radio. This is the Fiti Fata Show. This tune is hot, isn't it? Blimey, it's cold in the UK. Whew. Maybe that's why Doc X taking his time to get here. As you know, the conversation tonight is all about the maturity of the black man. So let's see. But this tune is hot. This is his own version of It's a Man's World. It's a Man World. Mario Fiero. Well, before we go further, I say many thanks there to Jim Erikai. We're live on YouTube, so get on board. It's gonna be interesting tonight. A conversation that many have a take on, a side to talk about. It's such a broad term, innit? The maturity of the black man in the 21st century. Well, we're going to look at a standard definition. Also, as an effect of that, how does that black men maturity grew from those? You want to look at stereotypes, how the masculine body has been defined and perceived. If you want to go as far as back as that, it's all of it we're going to be talking about. And now we're here, the 21st century. How matured do you think is the black man? The idea of slavery, protest against slavery, even from Africa, the fight against slavery, even in Africa, coming to the diaspora, Brazil, the Caribbean, and all of those places. And political discrimination, the right to be a man, a full-fledged man where you can take care of your families, yourself, and your environment. It's a lot of hopes, isn't it? Because the idea of maturity comes through the sense of nurturing. And there are stages actually in life that we can then grow to be matured. So it doesn't stop by being as a little man growing up to be an adolescent, to be a teenager, and to be a man, or being married, or for example, make you a mature person, or having an education so elite makes you an mature person. It's all area to have a conversation and a debate around, isn't it? But there is a stage as well, because then you can be all of those things, and then you enter into a relationship. Like, for example, when, the breaking down the independence of the black man to have your own land, to have your own family. It wasn't easy for the others because they never saw black people like that. So, it's a different sort of attitude back then in the 40s and 50s when it comes to protecting your family, even in the 70s. Even in the UK during the Windrush, it was really a problem. Because then you have people who came through the Windrush generation that had children in the Caribbean island. So it's a lot to go through as just one people, isn't it? But how have they matured through those, different barriers or stereotypes that have been put in place? This conversation is yours as well as mine and Doc X. Jim Erica is here. I'm just laying for you the foundation in which we can look at this maturity, because it's like, what do you mean? So how do you think the black men have matured in terms of relationship? Not only to prove to their own black women that they are really good, they can take care of their family themselves and can be so astute, intelligent, elite, progressive. But also when you talk about interracial, relationship, how they have to prove as well on the other side and yet come out. Because many of the other, when it comes of European women, had doubts, fear. I mean, the other day we talked about, a white woman scared of black women. And it's very clear, it's a mental one. But yet still, when it comes to interrelation, there's a lot of good things have come out there. Just to prove that they're just men who can thrive, can be independent, take care of their families. Even though with all the flaws that, allows human being to exist and have a debate within right or wrong, but mind you, it's a long way, isn't it? I'm here even as an African born in Sierra Leone talking about this. How far then you think we've matured as a black man? So it's all for you to have a conversation here. The number and the phone line is ready for you. Your comments, you can leave them in the comment box if you're listening on the radio page. And you can send us a text on WhatsApp, or you can call us on WhatsApp where you are on WhatsApp. +447 30541 7668. How mature is the black man in the 21st century? Another example to lay the foundation, let's look at football. England was, kicked out by France yesterday, unfortunately. But when you look at the young players, like the Saka, for example, who not long ago, 2 years, missed a penalty that could have probably won the England, European Cup. But you look at the way he matured through those adversities as a black man, a young black man, and probably in a sense of age, is not as matured as we all will assume as elders, right? But he was put through in a very big position that most matured people like myself, who is 52, have not been put in that position yet. But how matured is he in this World Cup? Because he's one of the most matured player, grown-up player in the game. And one of the youngest among few. So that is just the layer in which we can all look at how, in your view of how matured a black man is, in your view. And let us know. That's +447 30541 7668. We're live on YouTube, Feferity London. You can even type on YouTube the maturity of the black man, and you'll see it come up. Even on Google, you'll see it come up. All right? On the other hand, experience will prove that, talk about maturity. How mature you think the black man is? Because all you know is the one that you've seen grow up as a child, living in a bookie store, and you've grown up to be adult, and you probably have had children or a child, and you see him still there. How mature you think is a black man? Or maybe as a young child you've seen one going from home to home, house to house, not having a stability in his life. We don't know the context of that, but that could be the experience as well of saying that, they're not really matured. So let's have a comparison here of your experiences. How matured you think is a black man. Let me proceed with this song. It's a thought, and I've laid it all for you. Good evening. Welcome. This is the Fiti Fata Show where thoughts are expressed. Yeah, man. That is really, really good. It's a man world. Yes, so they say. Right? But others have many views as well. But tonight, like I said, we're looking at the maturity of the black man. Doc X is going to be here in the next 5 minutes. So, yeah. The maturity of the black man in the 21st century. What is your view? How do you view it? Like I said, you know, it's a long way. Depends on how you want to look at it. How far we've come from the Windrush generation, for example. How far have we matured within the system? How far has a black man made a progress? Not too long ago, we had Kwasi Kwarteng, a Ghanaian, who had the toppest office in the country. So how far have we come as black men, or as a black man? How mature do you think is a black man in this time? So many text messages came before, and I'm going to try and convey them to you. Well, Jim, Erica is here. I'm not sure whether he has turned his microphone on. Have a look on that side. He's trying to switch it on.
Yeah.
No, not yet. That's right. Let me help him out. That's right.
Yeah.
Let me help him out. Release. Yeah, you should be there, right?
No.
Hmm?
No. Am I there?
I think you should be there. But if you're not there, just use your the other microphone. I mean the other mic. That's right.
Yeah, but I want to leave that for my man when he comes in.
Sorry?
I want to leave that for Dr. X.
You want to leave it for Dr. X?
Oh, we're going to share it.
All right, okay. So we'll come back to Jim, Eric. Hi. Let me sort out the system here. Let me see, yeah, because we're on YouTube, right? And the thing is, there's this track I want to play for you, really. I really want to play it for you. This is like the piano stuff, right? And it's a track that I've been really, really serenading myself, especially in this sort of like warm. And yeah, that definitely is. It just kind of brings this sort of like feeling, you know what I mean? So relaxed, you know, so warm. It's quite gentle. It's an piano track, and I'm sure you're gonna love it. Doc X is coming. Let me sort the mic out here for Jim Erikai, and I will come back to you. what I'm talking about, right? You know, this is as well when you look at the music. Should I go there? Because a lot of immaturity was there within African music, if you want to look at it from way back when, isn't it? It's like, and the sound hasn't really changed much, really. But it has a connection, isn't it? That we all kind of like, ooh, I know this. So shout there to Ray, vibing with Ray today. 4 to 6. She always does this like old school, new school thing. Going good, really good. Well, you can see actually the music, you know, the musicians, the artists, African artists, you know, has grown, isn't it? Really. not just about the production, but also the business side of things, you know? Isn't it? So how matured is a black man? In the 21st century. Shout out to you for the first timers. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Feferity Radio. This is your nostalgic station. Tell you what, J. Mirakai is really feeling this one.
Yes, man. Nice lines. Nice lines. And the first tune as well. Yeah, man. The first track was kicking. And this one is also kicking.
I mean, shout out to you as well. You know what I mean? It looks like you're going to be here for a while.
Yeah,
it's very
well,
not really.
See how it goes.
Okay. But I'm sure, you know, it's a very interesting question, isn't it? How matured is the black man in the 21st century? I've kind of laid a little bit of ground in terms of where do we want to look at, what aspect of the maturity. I'm going to explain it in a little while when Doc X is here. But from your point of view, where you're sitting down as an elder,
well, you know, it's the word maturity in itself, you know. It's like you have to look at it in stages. Because you would say between the age of 10 and 20, you've matured 10 years. And between 20 and 30, that's another 10 years maturity. And so on and so on. As like I've said to people before, you know, in my children, I've said, look, when I was in my mid-20s, I thought I was a man. And then I reached in my 30s and realized I wasn't a man yet. So it's how you see this, the maturity. According to what you see as being a man, even, because each individual may well see it different, you know, in those different stages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, being in my 20s, working, and, you know, paying my way for as a man. But there's more to it than that, isn't it? There's a hell of a lot more than just working and paying your way. So, and then you come to realize that in a different stage. Like, for instance, when you go out into the world by yourself. You're not at your parents' house anymore. You're under their wing. You're out there, you know, you've got a roof over your head, you've got responsibilities. That's when you start to realize, you know, what your responsibilities are as a man, especially if you have children.
So on that personal sort of level, in terms of your experience as an elder, because I've laid also the foundation, like looking at Bakayo Saka, you know, a national footballer, England player, only 21 years old, and just 2 years ago, you know, 19, took a penalty right? And we've all seen, from being a 19-year-old, and even that is not some by any classification to say is matured.
No.
But yet still he took a penalty, and we've seen the progression from there into when we call it a maturity, to learn from that and develop himself, and we've seen the way he's producing at this moment. So he's just a still 21-year-old.
Well, first of all, he's a sportsman, and sport has its ups and downs. You've got some of the greatest, Lionel Messi, Ronaldo, they've all missed penalties. So it's just that element where he was slaughtered racially.
Mm-hmm.
That was unacceptable, and how he had to grow out of that. But I suspect that, with good people around him, he has managed to overcome that adversity. And you could see, even at this World Cup, how he's progressed as a young man, taking responsibility. So I would say at this stage in his development, he's in a good place. He's in a good place. Maturity-wise, he's in a good place.
Right. So Doc X will be here shortly, so we can open it widely.
Yeah.
But also we're taking your text messages on WhatsApp, plus 44730 541 7668. The maturity of the black man in the 21st century. In your view, how matured is a black man? All right then. Well, this is another Amapiano, but in a very jazzy way. Things are getting really, really better, right? So let's jazz up to some Cueto. Doc X is here, Can you hear the sound? And this is the conversation today, because he's going to answer that first. He's the one that instigated this conversation, right? About the maturity of the black man in the 21st century. And it is now 40 minutes into the starting time. And he coming in and he goes, my goodness, it's snowing out there. I tell you, it's cold, isn't it? Well, take a listen to this show. How mature do you think is a black man in this time? Make sure you check out this kind of stuff if it's your thing, man. It's got a great ambience. Well, welcome to the Fiti Fati Show here on Feferity Radio. Myself, Freestyle, Doc X is here. Were you saying Doc X?
Yes. Snowing, peoples, you know what I'm saying? Get me caught up, you know what I'm saying? So, we're here now.
That's right.
Be careful when you're out there because people are slipping and sliding if you're driving. Whoa.
Right. There you go. I'm not sure the call here. I don't know if Stefan really is calling to make a contribution. But let me see. Hold on a minute, right? Let me speak to sorry about that. Shout out to Stefan, and he wants to contribute to the show. Well, let's kick off actually here. We're talking about the maturity of the black man in the 21st century. And I've kind of laid down the foundation. It depends on how you want to look at it, how far you want to look at it. If you want to look at it from the slavery point of view, how these barriers have been put in place, you know, the stereotype, economical segregation, social segregation, the civil rights, and where we're at now, even in the UK. If you want to look at the Windrush generation, how far, you know, they've come, everyone has come to embrace and to understand more, you know, more that we knew before, and the way that's been dealt with. You know, if you want to look at the reparation march, that is also something that brought about some form of contribution to a sense of enlightening. A lot of atrocities have been done. So it deepens also the knowledge of the atrocities. So if you want to look at that, you can. In terms of a relationship, you know, how black men have dealt with their relationship. Like I said, you're not only dealing with a black woman in terms of what they've gone through slavery, and even in fact the Windrush generation, where men came in, most men came in and left their wife over there and children, and how they've dealt with it. Your view as well in that. How far do you think the men have matured? If you want to look at in the sense of, I made mention to football, soccer, for example, only 21 years old. And he was 19 when he took the penalty for England in the finals at the Euros and missed. And we've seen how he's taken penalties for us now, and each one of them he puts it in. So, and in this World Cup as well, he's only 21. So when we look at what is being ascribed at what is maturity, right? Some will say 28, some will say 30. So as Saka being a 21-year-old, in terms of how he performed on the football stage, you can say he's very matured to what happened 2 years ago with him. Very, very matured in that process. So it depends on where you want to go. If you want to go in an individual personal experience, let us hear from you. Well, Doc X is here. He came about the idea, said we should have this conversation tonight. Well, the floor is yours, Doc X. Lay the foundation in terms of how do you see black men in this 21st century? Matured or immatured?
Quite immature. Black men, all the way from the child up to the grandfather, have not developed to match the 21st century challenges. Yeah. You know, especially post-slavery, post-riot, post-everything. You know what I'm saying? Post-hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? So we're not doing very well. Black men are not doing very well in the 21st century because they have no power. They're a powerless group, and and they're not that strong as a male entity within the class of men across the globe, because they give in to any little struggle towards money. If you can pay them enough, they'll do anything. It seems that's what seems to be the foundation across the world, and also across the world. You have in every country that Europeans run, black people are being trodden down. So it's not what's happening to black people is not some kind of haphazard post-slavery. It's what Europeans are doing to black people in every country, in every European-run country across the planet. So you're not gonna get that type of say so under this planetary rule if there is no real fight, if there is no real message towards deliverance from oppression in that sense.
Okay, so let's take it step by step.
There's lots of steps, bro.
Exactly.
Hold it for steps.
Right, yeah. But lately you talk about fight, and you mentioned post-slavery, and where we are now. How many fights have you think black men have engaged in? Because you're talking on a political scale.
No, not just political and social. It's and emotional and mental and romantic. Every which one you want to think about. Everyone is failing.
These are not global.
That is global, though.
Well, in terms of, it depends on the place where you are. But if we talk about the global political scale, I think everyone understands. But when you talk about fight, that's what they should do. Let's go back then, post-slavery and before that. How many fights have you think black men have engaged in and have been successful to be in this position now?
Yeah, but that's beside the point, though, isn't it?
When we've had a black man from, parents from the continent held the highest office in this country, for example. You have an ethnic minority as the prime minister. How many fights?
Oh, all right, let's
men have gone through.
Let's get it more accurate then, because we're not talking about people that are sold out and people that are a part of the system that has enslaved us. We're not talking about that group of people, because that group of people are culturally white. They look black, but their culture is white. Their culture is European.
How many types of black people are there?
Right, there's loads of different types. You've got the European, but you've got the sellout. Right, so it depends on where you're coming from. So you've got the sellout black who was once down for his culture and his consciousness, and now has given that up for material gain and money and power in terms of European money.
So we have the sellout group.
Yeah. Then you have the immigrant group who've come here from Africa, Jamaica, whatever, who just come for money. They come a quote unquote better life.
So we have the immigrant group.
Yeah, have the immigrant group. Yeah. What else are you looking for?
No, I mean.
How many groups are there? I don't know. Yeah. What I'm saying is what I've seen. So I'm not saying these are the groups.
So far we got two categories.
You've got two categories. You've got the immigrant group. You've got the Jamaican. If we're talking about Britain, we've got the Jamaican immigrant group. You're talking about America.
Okay. So now the immigrant group get to break into segregation.
Well, yeah. Of course, you've got Jamaicans. You've got Africans. You've got it's Jamaicans and Africans. The rest is like Portuguese and Spanish and all that. You've got different set of immigrant group, right? So we're talking about the maturity of men in the 21st century. So we're talking about how did these people get to that point? So you're asking me different types of questions. The questions are around what was seen as
fights.
How much fight? But I'm just saying
now it's like what you've done basically by defining that black men are not matured yet is by posting all what have happened to black men and not being in control of their, say, political status or outcome, social outcome, and then within the social context, you can break it down to individual outcomes. So basically, there is nowhere that the black man has actually been successful in those areas.
No, that's what you're saying. I'm not saying that not been successful. You're talking about the success is subjective. Yeah, if you wanna start a car business and you've made it as a black man, then you're successful. If you wanna join the Labour Party and you as a black man, then you're successful. I'm not talking about individual successes. I'm talking about the national, international, and national status of black people. Because I can't get to individuals. Because if you get this, we'd be here all day just in half an hour. We'd have to go through like hundreds of thousands of individuals, which is impossible.
Well, I mean, not just the individual, but for me, it's like, because we're not matured, right? We're not matured.
As far as I'm concerned, no.
As far as you're concerned. And the reason being that, come through slavery.
We haven't even got to that yet. You're making it up as you go.
No,
you're asking
let's
these
go
questions.
step by step, because then we need to kind of understand as we go along, isn't it? Because my view, I'm looking at it from all those views. I'm thinking, wow, if you're looking at those areas, then I think there's a great maturity in how black men have dealt with those.
Oh, so where's the maturity in it? 17-year-olds killing 17-year-olds. Where's the maturity then? Where's the maturity in people, African people who've come to this country, who normally have kept good relationships in their own countries, come and now African women are now single mothers? Where's the maturity there? Okay. Where's the maturity when young black women are just meeting guys and having children for them and then going back their own? But where's the maturity there?
Well,
you can't just. It's like if you're gonna say
these are individual. I mean, like examples you're bringing in.
Yeah,
it's very individual. And
no, it isn't. It's a
not
group.
The collective.
It's a group.
It's not the collective.
It's not.
And also
nothing. Hold on 1 second, because you're trying to steer it a different way. Nothing can be a holistic collective. Nothing on the planet. There's always going to be there's going to be the Labour Party and people who are part Conservative and part Labour. It's going to be Conservative. It's never going to be like that. What we're looking at in terms of trying to bring a picture to what's already out there is what is a generality within the concept of our living. I'm not a politician or a international journalist. I'm a social commentator calling myself the ghettoologist. So I'm looking at what I can see. That's why I brought up that subject. I'm not looking at, I'm not international journalist, so I'm not going to say, well, we broke it down and trying to be completely factual. We're looking general.
Right. So generally, Jim Erikai, I think you're probably the eldest here. I'm not sure about
It doesn't
Doc
matter
X.
about that. We shouldn't even have to be talking about
No,
age.
but this is all down to maturity as well, because this is breakdown into different. But I mean, what you said, I mean, in terms of the question again to you, because earlier on, was I've laid down the sort of basis. But according to you,
Yeah.
how matured is a black man in this 21st century?
Well, that question, because as I said earlier, there's different stages of maturity. As I said, I was in my 20s before I was a man, and then I reached my 30s. I said, no, I'm not a man yet. According to what I see going on and what I was dealing with, I said, no, I weren't a man in my 20s because I had to step up in certain areas, especially once you start having children. So for me, it's maturity is a stage thing, but in terms of how I see Dr. X talking about it, he's talking about something where, and I'm in total agreement to that extent, that I don't see where we've stood up and said, we're not having this, we want something better for our women, our children, etc., etc. There is no stand up and fight for your rights.
Right.
It's all
Yeah,
talk.
but let's be specific. I mean, because for me, I really want to understand it more. Maybe it's for people to kind of call, because things are not the way they used to be.
Yeah, but we're not, I mean, with respect, we're not talking about what things used to be in da. We're talking about how it almost is a regression. Yeah, it's almost a regression in time from, say, even from the 60s. They had an idea to come here and work or whatever, most people or whatever, especially the West Indians, because I can't have an international view. I wasn't born in Brazil, I was born here. I've got Jamaican parents, I don't have Indian or African, or you know what I'm saying, or Portuguese. So I can only have a point of view. And that point of view says, I don't see where black men have moved forward. I can't see it. All I can see is where black men have gained more property, more money, which you call success.
So
But in
this
terms
is
of
a black
a
man or
group
black
of people,
men
hold
or
on one
group of
second.
people?
In terms of a group of people that have been under oppression for 400 years with their rights, and they've been robbed and and whatever, who live now in America, Canada, France, Germany, England, under the same oppression of the same cultural oppression in terms of the young people and black people. How is that? How have we moved? How are those men and women mature just because they go to a place to work? How does that exclamate maturity because you work somewhere and you earn the money and you can buy a car? How does that exclamate? Because I can tell you this much: a 16-year-old can do that. A 17-year-old person who's had 17 years on the planet can do everything I just mentioned. So obviously having property and gaining stock clearly doesn't reflect maturity. It only reflects your ability to possess.
Okay.
And capitalism is a part of the program we live under as black men in order to learn that ideology of possession.
So let me ask you, in your definition, what is maturity in your definition?
Well, again, I'm not trying to redefine the dictionary. The dictionary just mean like it could like as a
No, the
Jim
reason I'm
just said.
saying is a very broad aspect.
Yeah, but
I mean,
why can't it be a broad? Why does it have to be something else? Why can't it be a broad aspect? What is it you were looking for?
Because the word matured is based upon, not just the individual, but it's based upon the experiences that individual gathered around this environment that he or she is living in.
Okay.
And also is based upon how much that individual have learned from
told
that
you that,
environment in which he is.
Right. So you've got a position that you're holding, right?
So
Which is what you just said.
that
right?
can be, for example, I mean, let's look at, say, black men before who, say, go to the bookie. They spend more time in the bookie like they spend more time in their relationship. You can say at that time, for example, you have men, maybe they could be in their teens, maybe in their 20s, who you had men as well, which is for the same demographic and same race and same condition, who might have maybe put their money into some kind of good and productive way, maybe houses and stuff like that, where the condition is completely different from that person who has spent more time in the bookies. And you can say, because that person was maybe you knew that person when you was 15 and now you're 35 and you see that person all the time in the bookie. Then the question is, how mature do you think that individual you think that is?
Right, there's two ways of looking at that, because now you seem to be moving, because I'm a ghettoologist, I'm a black perspective person, right? You seem to be looking at a holistic view of, like, the cultural version, the English cultural version. Of
No.
No, let me just finish, right? So this is what you're suggesting, that, this individual, I've already put down the fact that it's not about individuals. I already said that.
So it's about a collective.
I've already said that. I just said that earlier on. I'm saying that the point is, we're at a stage, we're at a place where, coming from a situation of slavery, what do you see? What can you see in the black man? He's confused. What can you see? Not in the individual black man and the guy up the road and your friend and your cousin. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about a collective view. Like, collectively, you can see that the conservatives are a demon culture. You ain't gonna go, conservatives are really lovely people, from a point of view of being, you know what I'm saying? So yes, there are good people in there, but we're talking about a collective and an overall view in terms of, when you sit back, do you think that the youths them get on fine? You think they're having a great time? Do you think a 14-year-old killing another 40-year-old is a sign of maturity or success or development? This is what I'm asking. So why I'm saying that we're immature is because...
So can you deal with that individual who's killing case?
No, you keep going back to the individuals. This is a collective view about a collective people. How can you go back to individuals? That's talking about criminality and trying to go through every case.
Hold on a minute. I think the way I'm understanding, if I'm right, because I try to kind of understand this from a very maybe narrow perspective, and allow me to be so. Now, I attended a school that probably the government standard is quite lower, but I'm very intelligent, or there's a student there who's very intelligent, always have the best, marks and very studious. Now, whereas there might be another school who have a very good grade, Ofsted, recommendation, whatever, very high, but you might have majority of those children there not as good as that few in that worst graded school. Now, is it to say, for example, that school, right? So everybody that goes in that school, just because that school has a bad reputation of a lower grade compared to others, that all children in that school follow suit, they're not good enough? Because I'm trying to understand it from that point.
Yeah, I know you are, because you're still using a European... You're using...
What is European? I'm just saying this is me, my own thinking. Allow it to be. I'm trying to understand
allow me to judge it then. You can't just have your own opinion and nobody can't say nothing about it. You're saying something about my opinion.
What it is, yeah?
Yeah.
What I pick up from Dr. X is to coin the phrase collective security. You see the youths that are killing themselves, we've talked about it before. Who's responsible? If we're not going to be responsible for our youths, why should we expect the police and the system to be responsible?
Yeah, but okay then. What I'm dealing with here, because that is very bland. Because then, I think on your show last week or so, week before, after that, you talked about a young boy who was killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how close you are to that young boy. I don't know how know how that young boy grew up. I don't know if you knew people who knew that young boy. Because then, if we're looking at maturity in this sense, you could have said, well, the people around that young boy, I know people around that young boy, and maybe the people that you know around that young boy, they're not as bad. They don't grow up in that way. It comes from a good home. Then you begin to look at maybe is the friend that person keeps. So there's a different way to look that we all can be responsible. But to say here and letting me think that, well, somebody who was killed, a black child who was killed maybe somewhere, and is my responsibility, and that shows that we all is not collectively responsible, I'm not sure. That is a kind of consequence or responsibility I should bear on the collective.
I don't. So who's saying that you're supposed to bear it? What we're looking at is an observation, a subjective observation of a situation that we're a part of. You know what I'm saying? And some, there's some, I've got friends who've got, got quite a bit of money, and then they're living quite well. And I've got friends who are, are in prison. I've got friends who are had friends who are dead. You can't, it's like difficult to keep finding these individual concepts when you're talking about a mass concept. That doesn't even make sense. It's just like you keep going back. It's almost like you're confusing the issue. The issue is
No, I'm not confusing. I'm trying to, because then I can understand.
Yeah, but we're debating a point and we're arguing a point. You're saying this, that you're not doing what I'm saying you're doing. And I'm saying that I've already stated this is a collective view, and you've gone back and talked about another singular point that Jim raised in another show. And I'm saying this is not about.
Yeah, but I'm asking Jim. I'm saying, does
know,
Jim knows this 17-year-old?
Yeah, but that's
does
got
Jim?
to do
Because
with
if
it.
Jim knows this 17-year-old, or if you knew that 17-year-old and do nothing about it, then maybe you can say that shows the immaturity.
No, it doesn't. It just
Okay,
there could be
then,
all sorts of different names for
Are you
that.
saying then we all then as a collective
I'm
should be at that?
saying that the black man is underdeveloped in the 21st century. That's what I'm saying.
Because the 17-year-old got killed.
No. You see, again, you went back to individuals. There's hundreds of those people that have been killed. So how am I talking about a 17-year-old? There's hundreds of them that have been killed. We've had a national riot for somebody that has been killed as a young black man. National, across, happened in London, and the riots went nationwide, right? So it's not about individuals. It's about how the collective is dealing with their own development, and they're not about individuals. Like you have Skilly Bang, who talks about nastiness and filthiness. You got Beanie Man is a little bit more middle of the road. You got the Rasta singers. You got the fight between them. You got the new range of blogging. You got all this sort of stuff. And I'm saying, in amongst all of that, the blogging, the vlogging, the music, the schooling, the parenting, you can see that a black man hasn't risen to the occasion to be able to run his
handling business.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I mean, this is a very open and very we don't want to make it subjective, but quite
why
rather
don't we want to? Excuse me. Why don't we want to make it subjective? I don't understand. Why there has to be a rule of what it is according to you? Then
No.
why don't we want to make it subjective?
No, it's not about me. I'm laying the foundation.
No. But you said
so
it doesn't have to be subjective.
Because
You know what subjective means? It means your opinion. It means
well,
that your
everybody
viewpoint.
has one.
Right. So
that's
why
my
can't
point.
we? Why is it? Yeah, but you just said it doesn't have
So
to be
not just
subjective.
one.
So
Anyway, we got some. I think Kilimanjaro is on the line. Let's hear, because let's hear what Kilimanjaro has to say.
Well, I extend my greetings to you and your panel and guest.
I can't hear.
Rise up, Kilimanjaro.
Rise up. What I would like to know is, do you know what beauty means?
Do I know what?
Do you know what beauty means?
Guilty.
Beauty.
Beauty.
Is that question to Doc X?
Sorry?
What's beauty? I don't understand what the position of beauty is.
Yeah,
within this.
I had cancer. I had cancer, so bear with me on my speech.
He said no. It's
Beauty,
asking.
B-E-A-U-T-Y.
Yeah, I hear that. What is its relevance to this discussion?
Well, it's extremely relevant. I'm asking everybody on the panel if they understand what their definition of beauty means, because it's based on the answer that you gave me, that I'm going to come to you with my own angle.
No, just come
if
to
the black man is mature or not.
Yeah, come to you with your
Okay.
angle.
Let's go like this, right? My definition of beauty will be what I see beautiful, and what I see beautiful might be subjective to me.
That is the one I was going to say. It's in the eyes of the beholder, because we all see different things within that world of beauty.
Okay. Well,
What about
beauty,
you? Mm-hmm.
beauty on this, from the answers you've given me, shows an individual thing, whereas in reality, beauty is collective. If you like beauty and beautiful things, then you make your surroundings beautiful. You make your laws beautiful. You respect it. Everything you see has to be beautified collectively, not individually. So even if I have good road, driving my car on the street, and then the next street is not beautiful, then collectively it's worse. You know me, Freestyle. I've got 6 houses, right? If I am rich, I'm still a black man, and wherever I go, they'll see me as an undeveloped black man, not a rich black man an undeveloped black man. And you know why? Because collectively, we are not showing anything of integrity that will beautify our race. We haven't got our own banks. We haven't got our own supermarkets. We can't provide and produce ourselves. Other people are controlling us. We are actually being led by time from other people and controlled by other people's regulations and law. So that makes us extremely immature. You know, we haven't developed our senses. It's like we're not even in the 21st century. It's like we belong to the ages of the dinosaurs. And for us to become mature, individualism and individuality would not make it for us. What will make it for us is cooperation, tolerance, and that's what will build us up. So I agree with Dr. X. He is right. He is right. Mm-hmm. You know, even when beauty is actually at the beholder's eye, that's up to you. But what about the mannerism of that person, the person's characteristics? You get what I mean? And behaviorism.
I think,
what beautifies a person.
Right. I like what you said. And, you know, for me, you know, like I said, I really don't mind. It's not really about Dr. X Freestyle. This is not what it's about at all. But for me, what I want to ask you, Kilimanjaro, is very interesting what you said, because I like it. You talked about, obviously, you know, as a black man, you've got 6 houses. So you're quite wealthy. You're quite...
I am rich.
No. One second. I'm coming.
That richness comes from my parents.
No.
I inherited it.
I'm coming.
I built on it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm still a black man because my community has not progressed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I like what you said, but my point is, to have is to share. Now, you have these amount of houses. I'm not going to ask you whether how much you've shared with a fellow black men or black community to help, but I'm going to say, in terms of the way you achieved it, how many black people in the community, because not many in that community that you're talking about have 6 houses. In fact, you're saying that now, many people or black people will feel more discouraged coming with you because it's like, he's got 6 houses, but yeah, I understand what he's saying.
You've gone back to the European.
No, but hold on a minute. I'm just saying, the question is, how many black people within those communities that, knowing that the problem that the community exists as a collective, how many have you helped in attaining to gain those sort of
what has that got to do with the question, though, brother?
Because hold on a minute. You know why? You know why?
He's just explained that he said that we're not together.
Right?
So 1 second.
I am going to tell you this. I have spoken to the community and I have called the community together. And I said, listen, power belongs to the landlord and not the tenant.
Right.
If you all come together and you put in £100 every month, you could actually put a deposit down on a house.
Right.
And from you own one property, you could mortgage another property.
Right.
What happened? Apart from inheriting my property from my parents, and what I did was I joined the Church of England investment to enable me to own properties. Mm-hmm. When my bank manager told me that she's going to put me in contact with Church of England investments, I said, go for it. I had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Right. You know, with £50,000, I was able to join them. Do you know who owns Tooting Market? My name is there.
Right. So I mean, this is even better, Kilimanjaro. My question is about knowing that, you know, because to me it sounds like you've matured. But to me, I'm looking at like you're dragging yourself within this community that you're trying to help, because you said you came with an initiative of having your own bank, your own estate and properties, even to put £1 a week or something like that. How many people in your community saw that?
Did you hear what Dr. S said?
No.
Our community is still not yet ready.
Hold on a minute. I mean, you came up with the idea. You came up with the idea.
Yes.
Does that
Not
mean
for myself, not for my own
not for
benefit,
no?
but for the
I'm not saying
benefit of
that.
my
I'm
people.
not saying that. Is it through maturity that you came up with the idea, or ignorance?
Oh no, it's through maturity.
All right
I
then.
saw the
But do you
state-
see your
I saw the
community? The
lackadaisical
question
state
here is,
of my- I
Kilimanjaro.
saw the lackadaisical state of my people,
Right.
and I did not like it. And I saw how myself was being treated. Like, okay, we don't care how much money he's got. He's still a black man, like the rest of them. Look at him. I don't buy expensive things and show off and all of that. I don't do that. My children might do because they don't know the value. They're born into it. So they don't see the suffering that I saw of my parents. You know, my brothers were not interested. They left England and live in America. So that the responsibility fell on me. I'm going to tell you something, right? At 18 years old, can a person be a head of state?
Why not?
Why not? That's maturity. When maturity falls on you, you have a responsibility to take it on. Because you got to remember, Queen Elizabeth was only 18 when
Absolutely.
she came on the throne.
Absolutely.
And also, there was a president in your country, a head of state. He was only 20 or 21, less or something like that. His time was when he assumed leadership of Sierra Leone. There's a mayor in America that's only 18 years old.
Absolutely. See, this is what I'm trying to say. This is, like now you actually put down a picture in its proper context. The idea that somehow our community is moving forward on the basis that they own stuff. You own 6 houses, and that's great. But there's no way on the planet everybody on the planet is going to be able to own 6 houses.
Why not?
We don't live in that. No, because that's being silly. That's just like a child. This is what I'm saying about maturity. Why not about everybody owning 6 houses on the planet is childlike. That's not something that's actually
What
possible.
about one?
Well, no, but you just said 6. I'm just only answering that one question at a time. What I'm saying is that this is what we do. We bring up unlikely events. You know what I mean? Sort of fairy tale events.
It's
To
not-
say,
it's not fairy tale.
we could
For
all
me-
have a bank. We could all have a this.
That's
no,
what
you
Kilimanjaro
can't.
said.
That's not physically possible.
That's what Kilimanjaro said.
Yeah, that's not physically
It's
possible.
not for us all to have a bank. It's that we should have a bank.
That's what Kilimanjaro said.
Yeah,
How come now you're
but-
disagreeing with it?
What-
That's
what?
what Kilimanjaro said.
Said what? I didn't
That we
disagree
should
with
have a bank. We should have these.
I didn't
by
say.
now.
I said we can't all have a bank.
That's what he said. We should all have a bank.
Yeah, no, he meant collective,
No, I
a collective
can't
bank. He didn't
believe
say
it.
individuals should have a bank. I was talking about individuals. I'm
Yeah.
saying we can't all have 6 houses. That's not. We can't all
So you
have.
mean
Oh,
the
let me-
sellout gonna have a bank
let-
and the immigrant gonna have a different bank?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Right. We all can't have a bank, right? And we all cannot own houses, right? Because that's not the way capitalism works. So if you're talking about a fairy tale land that we're living in, that we can all own a house, yes, that can happen in fairy tale land, which shows your mark or shows anyone's their mark of immaturity. In real life, that's never going to happen because of the way the construct of capitalism is.
Right. So
Yeah,
basically,
so
it's about
again-
accepting the reality of things and looking at it from that perspective rather than to make the reality being surreal.
Well, it's to understand
we
the
certainly
reality.
don't want to accept the reality.
Yeah, understand the reality is not the same as accepting it.
No.
You know what I mean? You understand you're in prison, your imprisonment. It means that, oh, I love being in prison. It means I get why I'm here. I get why the capitalists and the conservatives want people to be at their beck and call because they have a history of that. So I get it. They've always had people at their beck and call, and they've always created poverty in this country. They've always enslaved people. They have a history of it. It's documented. So why you should wake up one day and expect them to love black people is foolhardy. This is what I'm saying. When you have a community whose music is predicated upon the death of other people of their own color and their own system, is predicated upon the collection of goods manufactured by the Europeans, you're talking about a wasteful community, a community that doesn't know itself, a community that's immature.
But then it's a community then, isn't it? It's not the whole of the black community.
What are you talking about? It's a community, but not the whole of the
It's
black
the
community.
wider community.
It's a community.
Freestyle. Because look here, we're talking like, for instance, they using the Black Wall Street as an example,
Which is never going
Where-
to happen again.
where we had our own banks, we had our own things going on, and we were self-reliant. Now Barry's saying that will never happen again, but that is exactly where we want to get to.
That's right. We do because
if we don't, then
we don't understand. You see, we don't understand the way capitalism, the European mind works. Because if the European mind wanted us to have banks, we'd have had them. The European mind wanted us to have Wall Street again, we'd have had it. Why are you fighting white? Why do we need to fight white people to have? It means that they don't want you to have it. Why is it every time black people reach a level of development, financially, socially and all that, it gets pushed back by the group of people? Why is it people keep claiming about owning stock? So how mature is it to own a television stock, you know what I mean, and then sell it? How mature is it to have one of the biggest record companies and then sell it, while the people who are buying it are becoming more powerful than the people that are selling it? Because the people think that money is creating their wealth, and it isn't. Power creates helps to create developmental, like the Jew. Oh, let's go back to the old word Jew, like the Jews. They, are they selling everything? How much power do they have in the European capitalist system? They have a hell of a lot of power for a small group of people. Exactly. So again, that's what I'm trying to explain, how immature black people and the youths are, because they're being led by a set of morons that are telling them how to look up to, Balenciaga, name brand goods, and how they can kill each other to achieve this objective. And now they can take drugs and sleep with different girls and achieve this objective of greatness. So that means that group of people are like children. They haven't even become men yet, because they're still talking about things which are childlike and pornographic. And the system itself is propping them up, because if the system wants because the system, which is European completely, doesn't want the development of this group of people, because they own most of this group of people's assets.
What about Rashford? The Man United player,
the England player.
Yeah, he's a Man United player. I mean, he did something 2 years ago where he helped a lot of young people and children, who had no family or struggling really, and with food, and it helped a lot.
Yes, so everybody does that.
The government.
That's all charitable.
So what I'm saying is an individual.
You've got someone still on the phone.
Can I come in, please?
You're gonna have to finish the call or something at some point.
It's not about helping people freestyle. It's about teaching them to be independent, showing them how to be independent. It's how to be mature, how to stand on your 2 feet. If people beg me for money and I give them money, I haven't really helped them. But I could help them by showing them how to have money. Money would then give them what they desired. So to me, money means nothing but a reward system. When you offer people services, they give you money, and that money is a reward system. If you're not offering services, you don't expect to get money. Who's going to give you money when you're not offering anything?
Right.
You're not inventing nothing.
So,
who's going to give you money?
The system that we live in is we've been captured in this system. The African mindset, the African politic is not capitalism. You know what I'm saying? It's a socialist paradigm. We've talked about this for years, right? It's a socialist concept where people, there's a lot more distribution of wealth. This system is about one small group of people enslaving their own. Even, if you go back to even old white history, you'll see that the conservatives will always enslave the poor in this country. And it's the Labour Party that freed the poor from that level of poverty, and then the greedy Labour rights wanted to have what the Conservatives have, and they swapped sides. And so now you've got this. We're back to the stage in a financial way where you was 200, almost 100 and odd years ago. So you've just moved. So it's a backward move. It's not a forward move. A short-term forward move is a long-term backward move. So a short-term film we were saying, oh yeah, you put your thing in her mouth and you do this and you kill guys and you murder people and you got guns and all that. What that might have made you money in the short term, but in the long term it's devastating your community. People are killing people for fun. You know what I'm saying? People are, because you haven't recognized as a grown man, some people are growing up now and just going, boy, and forgetting that they were the one who set this whole murder system up. The music is the music is very important because it's a form of news. Because if you don't separate yourself from the understanding as a black man, it's not the same as the understanding of the white man. if you don't separate that your DNA functions differently from the white man, and you then start to behave and incorporate white ideals into you become like them, so you're of no help to your community.
Well,
because they are antagonistic, definitely.
Well,
I mean,
another thing that you touched on music. So if you look at the music scene, for example, right? Then you look at the names that we give ourselves when we're performing. We call ourselves, look at the names we call ourselves.
Yeah, well,
Niggas with Attitude, Luciano. Which white person do you know does that? That's detrimental.
One of the most powerful communities in one of the most council cultures in the world is China, and it stopped them from listening to some of the hip hop or the gangster rap, I would say. You know what I'm saying? Because they realized that what it would do to them as a community, as a race. So, but when you are like us, who've been captured by a race and are attracted to the monetary situations that are in England and in Canada, and you know what I'm saying, because where you live, like Jamaica or certain places in Ghana, you know what I mean, you haven't got that freedom yet, where you still got the control over you by the Europeans. They can, the IMF, you owe people money that, you know what I'm saying, and they're all Europeans. All the people that you owe money to are Europeans. So you have no one. At this moment in time, you have no one. All you have is a bunch of people on the line saying, oh, yeah, black people is this and the Illuminati and da-da-da. But you have no real leadership because they're smart. They created the ABC community to say Black Lives Matter. And secretly, they're giving all that money to other homosexuals and other lesbians and other bisexuals and other, you know what I'm saying, whatever you want to call them, right?
I tell you what we're going to do, right? Let me play the original promo because I don't want things, because sometimes we go out of context.
That was you, bro.
No. What I'm trying to say, the promo, sorry?
Freestyle, before you do, can you name me or anyone on your panel, can you name me 3 branded African-owned or black-owned business or anything? Just 3.
I can Google it for you right now.
Sorry?
I can Google it for you right now. I mean, if you walk in Streatham, you will see a lot of businesses there.
No, he's not talking about that. He's talking about big brands, not a business owner. A biz brand name like Cadbury's, Nestle.
So again, why do you think that person want to be like that? Why can't you be pleased with what they really own?
You see, that's what I'm saying.
No, but you keep
moving it back to the individual. We're talking about a group,
you
keep moving it back to the individual.
You're talking about a group, but owning a massive compared to what is already
a group.
there.
People that own Nestle are not. It's not individuals. They're groups.
Anyway,
every corporation's owned by a group. Viacom, name it, name anyone, and I tell you that's a group. So you can't then go to the group and say, why did they want to? One individual want to own a massive corporation that's really owned by lots of people? That doesn't compute.
Right. Okay. Let me play the promo because then we can have a kind of an understanding, because I don't want it to kind of like shape. No, because the thing is, we're talking about the black man in the 21st century.
It says up there the maturity of the black man.
Yeah,
so
and exactly what you said.
You keep moving it to a place where it doesn't even belong.
No, but I don't want it to go into, because what I'm trying to say here is like you're looking at the maturity within the system that is set up. And within the system that is set up...
What other system should we be looking at?
No, but hold on a minute. I'm saying within the system that we are in, there is no possible way that we can get out of it. And in that light, whatever individual or group of people have done for themselves or their community is not really compared to that bigger scale that you're trying to achieve. So therefore, we need to kind of...
Who's trying to achieve? You're just making stuff up.
Hold on a minute.
No one's talking about achieving anything. We're talking about the maturity of the black man in the 21st century. Right. Really what are we doing? We just looked at the music. He talked about Kilimanjaro, talked about the people he tried to round up. We're talking about collectively what we're doing. You keep going back to individuals. Why does he want to do that?
This thing, I kind of really confused about who is we. Kilimanjaro, for example, who is actually born in London. I wasn't born in London, but own 6 houses. I don't own 6 houses.
What has that got to do with
hold on, because we're talking about... No, hold on a minute. I think if every individual acquires something, then it will bleed to something bigger.
Oh, God, that sounds so... That's what sounds immature.
All right, then.
It doesn't work like that. Does it work like that, Jim?
No.
I'd like to know. Do you think that's how it works? If every individual... We're an oppressed group that have been conquered by another group.
How do you see the black man maturity? That's the next question. How
This
do
is what
you
we're-
see
that's what we're talking
the Blacksman
about, bruv.
maturity come into view, for example, in your view?
Bruv, like I'm saying, that's what we're talking about.
No, but
isn't
I'm
it?
asking the question: how do you see the Blackman
I could
maturity
answer
coming
that.
into
I
view?
could answer it.
Well, you can, but you then
Yeah, but no,
anyone can answer it as well. How do you see the Blacksman view based upon what you guys are saying
You gotta let
come
him
into
finish.
view?
That's why I did ask you, how do you define beauty?
We're just going around in a small
So how
circle.
would
This
you
is the small
define
circular
beauty?
argument.
So you could say that beauty is defined collectively. When you live in a place where there's no
How can you say beauty is
lackadaisical,
defined collectively?
moment.
I mean, Kilimanjaro, you're just trying to kind of whack this whole thing, making it look. How can beauty be defined collectively? It is impossible. It's
You live in an
impossible.
environment-
No.
What are
You
you
live
talking
in an environment.
What are you talking about? I say impossible for doing. So what is
No,
it?
what
Why
I'm
do we buy?
saying
Why
is-
do people buy the Vogue magazine? Why do people buy the Essence magazine if beauty isn't defined
Because they see
collectively?
it as beautiful, but it's not collective.
Why isn't it What are you talking
No,
about? Are you
no,
talking
no.
about every single human being on the planet having the
So
same light?
my
Or are you
point-
talking about? So when you have a collective of people that are into saving the planet, that's not a collective because every single person on the planet is not doing that. That's
So does
silly.
that mean that they're not doing works to help save the planet?
No,
because
no.
not everybody's in it.
Right. So no, you bruv, you're just all over the place. How can you say it's not collective when you're now agreeing by saying what you've just said that it's collective? So what are we dealing with? We're not.
No, but
we're
I'm
not in
asking
any-
you. You've never answered
No,
the question.
because you're all over the place,
I'm
bro.
not at all.
You just asked
I'm
me a
not.
question,
I'm
you just
saying, according to your view,
Yes.
Kilimanjaro, in the system in which
You
we're
said
living
it's impossible for them to be collective.
in the system in which we're living in, right? I'm getting this, right? Because in the system now in which we're living in, the white structure system, right? In which we're all living in, collectively as black people, right? You see it as no matter what, there is no way we can be matured within that system.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said. I said the black man's immature. I didn't say no matter what. We're talking about a collective.
So how then
What you're doing?
hold on. How can you see?
You keep saying that.
How can you see the maturity within a black man in your view?
I'm not looking at individuals. Don't you
No,
understand?
the
I keep saying to you.
collective. The collective.
You know,
I'm
so you
looking
said
at.
in right. So I'm saying to you,
In your view, the collective. How can you see that coming into view?
as I said to you, like
I just told you collectively, when your environment is not right, it's not clean, it's not
Right,
safe,
right,
it's not
again,
good, no matter how an individual is free,
Marcus
that
got-
environment is rubbish. Collectively, it's rubbish. You have a mansion and your surrounding is rubbish. Your whole system is rubbish.
So are we talking about central London? Are we talking about South London? Are we talking about
We're
east
talking about
or south?
Sierra
Are we
Leone.
talking
Talk
about
about
London?
worldwide. Self-reliance.
It's like he doesn't listen, and then he just keeps saying.
Self-reliance.
Hold on a minute. I think this is going to be much more controversial, right? I'm going to play this track, but this is going to be controversial. Now, we have an African team in the World Cup. This has never happened before. Now, if we look at the...
What do you mean? What is
mean
about me, Simon?
the
Well,
stage,
an
the
African team
stage
being
that
in the
they've reached.
semi-finals,
Okay.
right?
Right.
The Morocco, they're in the semi-finals.
What? Yeah.
And possibly they could win the World Cup. Now, at the stage in which they're in, right, the semis, there is no African country that's reached that stage. Now, that is a record for Africa.
Right. So what's the point we're getting at, sir?
If we're talking about maturity...
That's the
No, wait, no. But Kim, I mean...
you just make stuff up and then you just put your version to it.
No, but hold on a minute. If you're not recognizing what is going on now, how can that be proceed? What I'm saying is, on the collective, right, as an African worldview, this is the first time that an African team, has reached the
Has reached the
semifinals.
semi-final, yeah.
Now, in terms of footballing perspective,
You would say that they have matured.
well, wouldn't you say that? Kilimanjaro, wouldn't you say that?
Because they've made progress.
What you're saying is complete mediocre.
No. I'm asking you. Forget about that. But won't you say that?
Well, what you're saying,
They're not
freestyle, is
African
an
women.
example
Yes.
of
But
of
yeah, it's
maturity.
just a footballing aspect because we all over the place.
They have
You guys are talking about killing. You're talking about music.
But
They
still,
What
let's-
is it that specifically we're looking at?
What we're looking at
What you're
is
saying, they
collective.
haven't won
Yeah,
the
but in
World
what
Cup.
aspect? I'm saying
Self-reliance.
footballing wise.
Come on.
Footballing wise, in in global. This is the global view. It's not just like a diasporian view, right? This is a global view where we have the first African team in the semifinals. Now, if you look at from way back when, 10 years ago, having played, or I mean longer than that, having played in the World Cup, I mean the standard, right? And the way that we look at corruption in there. And now we're seeing, you know what I'm saying, teams get in, and, you know, there's a standard now to the point that we have an African team in the semis. Isn't that maturity on the, you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I think that...
That's not in that.
But what are you waiting for then? What are you waiting for to actually look at to say that we're matured? Kilimanjaro, what are you looking at?
Football is a collective game.
Well, we're talking about collective. That's why example I give that example.
Majority. That's collective.
No, but I'm talking about...
If you're talking about maturity, you have to talk about discipline. They did not get to where they are without discipline.
They're the best. They got the best defense in. They got the best defense in the World Cup.
You like
your own voice
too much. You like your own voice.
But they got the best defense in the World Cup.
What are you talking about football, bro? What are you dealing with, though. We're dealing with the maturity of the black man in the 21st century, not whether he's entered the World Cup or not. Not whether he's good enough to be in Africa.
Are we looking at the collective here?
Bruv, let me say it again.
No, but are we looking at the collective or individual? Because I'm kind of confused because I'm giving you a collective maturity in terms of the stage that Africa were in the World Cup.
That's a game.
We're looking at athletics as well. We have, a black man who owns, got the record, right, in athletics.
You've gone way off, bruv.
Is it?
That's got nothing to do with the maturity.
So what example then?
You're talking about a competitive game.
Freestyle, he's going to tell you that you're mentioning an individual again. And it's not about the individual.
I'm giving a collective maturity.
No, you're not. You're just jumping around in different points.
Look here.
No, it has nothing to do with football, what we're talking about. Football shouldn't even be mentioned.
Marcus Garvey's self-reliance
That's right.
is what we're supposed to be.
What?
Self-reliance as a people.
Self what?
Are you playing? Hold on 1 second, because I need to know what game you're playing. Are you playing devil's advocate?
No.
That's a typical cultural English cultural dynamic.
I don't know if about English culture because
so
the devil has been a black man.
Who invented the devil?
According to definition, the devil has been a black man. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
maybe an African as well.
However, I don't know. Right.
He's saying self-reliance.
Yes.
Even this conversation now has gone back to the age-old where we just talk over each other. What I'm saying is clear, right? The difference between an English cultural perspective in a black man and a man who understands his position as a conquered human being, even though he's successful. Yeah, of course he's conquered. He was brought to his knees by these people all over the world.
Do you see every black man see themselves as that in the world?
Why would they need to? You just need to look at this. Is what I'm saying to you. You keep going back to individuals. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't see yourself as conquered, that means nobody else should see their conquered, because it's about a state of mind. A lot of people are confused about states of mind.
But genetics plays a massive role in all of this. We're talking about intelligence as well. Because we can all be black. We can all be black and having experiences of slavery.
You don't know it. You know what? In my opinion,
genetics within all of these plays a bigger role.
In my opinion, you're not looking at the same point of view that I'm looking at. So either you're playing, as I said. Either you're playing devil's advocate or you understand the point I'm making. Because there's one thing to understand the point, and there's another thing just to constantly batter at the point and just jumping all over the place, which is what English cultural black people do.
Why can't it be English though?
Because it's them who invented it. It's their culture that invents that has developed the deception. As far as black people are concerned in the West. It's they that have taken the land by deception, the Indians' land by deception, the murder and the pillage of the Aborigine land. You know what I'm saying? These are people that go across the planet as a race who we live amongst now and have destroyed races and have eliminated races.
What is that got to do with the maturity of all of that within a black man?
Let me finish, because when you talk, you go on for long talking about what you want to talk about, and then I don't understand where it's going. So let me finish. What I am saying is that this is what the people that we live amongst. So understanding that, first of all, we didn't have to understand their behavioralisms. And those of us who adopt their behavioralisms, because their behavioralisms are antagonistic, as we were saying, Jim, about the Wall Street, are antagonistic to the development of black people. Which is why Ghana and these people have to fight for their right to have their own coffee, have the most, 1/3 of the chocolate in Ghana, in Africa is made by Ghana, and Ghana has to fight for their right to make their own chocolate. They have to go to war with England and the Europeans so they can make chocolate that they grow and that they develop, and that is fundamental to their country's financial existence. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm trying to say that you can't keep bringing it back to individuals, because there's people in Ghana who are multimillionaires. But everybody in Ghana, so as it the individual, but the state of Ghana is still under the oppression or the pressure of the Europeans. So if you become sided with the European, and you
bypass the Ghanaian president.
As I said before, like
that is like a massive.
Well, obviously you don't do a lot of research about what the Ghanaians themselves or what the speakers themselves are saying about Ghana and the state ofGhana. You're obviously not doing that.
Global business is completely different.
You're just making up stuff as
you're
a
bypassing
kind of an antagonistic type of journalist, and I get that. But what I'm saying to you is that these are your antagonism is like that of say Piers Morgan, which doesn't mean nothing. It's just like words coming out of your mouth just to kill time.
Ghana, innit? That's what you're saying. There's Europeans who's controlling Ghana.
Is that what I said? No, that's surely what not I said. But if you interpreted that, then what can I do?
Not controlling them.
They have. I just said. I gave an example. I gave an example. I gave an example. It was clear. I gave you the example.
Europeans are controlling the president
or the
government.
Is that what I said? Hold on. Is that? Repeat what I said or play back what I said and ask me if any of what you just said is what I said. I talked about chocolate and the Ghanaian government, and this is what you're repeating that I said.
That's what I'm saying. Global business is completely different from government.
That's what I'm saying. You're not dealing with the subject. You're just moving on to something else. You're not dealing with the subject. I'm using it as a basis to show you how we are not a developed people.
Do you know the deal right now that's happening? The conversation within chocolate in Ghana right now.
Yeah, of course I do. Of course I know what they're doing.
They've taken
this is now. This is today.
So
this is
22nd century. In your eyes, though. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Right? No, you're not. You just said that a minute ago. That's not what you were saying before. You're just moving around. You got this jump around kind of mentality of asking questions. I've been doing this. People have been asking me questions for years. But then I know the different styles.
No.
You're jumping around and asking all different types of questions.
What I'm trying to say, if you knew that what Ghana has done, did with the chocolate fight.
That's today.
But what I'm saying is
so what are you
now.
Talking about?
So then that is maturity, isn't it?
No,
but you said the black man hasn't matured.
No, that's not.
And you're making an example where Europeans have been controlling this industry, but you're not seeing what Africans. If it's happening now, the conversation doesn't take place now. It's been going on for maybe 15, 20 years.
No, it hasn't. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been talking for 15, 20 years. I've been talking about it for 15, 20 years.
Please?
Yeah.
The concentrating over the recent 5 or so years. You know what I mean? Where someone's actually making these moves. Before it might have been a fool.
Wow,
Sorry.
Okay.
Can I come in?
Go on.
If they take cocoa from Ghana, and they take oil from Nigeria, and they take diamond from Sierra Leone, and they take uranium from Congo, and sell you back what they've taken from you as finished goods for 4 times the price. How mature are you? Because this is what's putting us in
absolutely. As a country, as how developed are you as a country then, isn't it? Because we're talking about maturity is similar to development. So yeah, they're trying to develop. I'm saying, but the question for today, or the speech for today, was about the maturity, and basically, you have a point out. In my opinion, the mature things that are happening, like you say, oh yeah, and I said, yeah, cool. I'm not saying, oh no, that's not mature. I'm saying, yeah, cool, but that's not. We're not coming here to say, oh, everybody is mature because Ghana's doing that. That's a development that they're making today.
No,
I'm not saying we should all be matured. In fact, I don't believe in that.
Can I what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I was showing is to show you how immature our community nations are.
Yeah.
This white Europeans have no commodities. They take from us raw materials and sell it back to us 4 times the price afford to pay for it. They take
But we
crude
can't-
oil from us
Yeah.
and they sell it back to us. They take sugar cane from us and they sell us sugar. They take diamonds from us. They sharpen the diamond and sell it back 4 times to us. We are not matured yet. We can't even control our own resources.
All right, okay.
Right. And that's in
this
it's
is
in a
nice.
context that I wasn't really aiming for, but I understand.
Well, I mean, we all understand that, definitely. But, I mean, where do we go from there? It doesn't provide no way at all. It's like a dead end. But thank you very much, Kilimanjaro.
No problem. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Rise up, Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, big up, bro.
Yeah,
what
man.
I'm saying, you say
Let me play the promo, I mean, before we go, because then, I mean, you know, people who are coming in would probably want to know what instigate this and what sort of direction we're looking at. Oh,
that's not it.
that's not it at all. Let me look for it. Right. Let me see. I think this is the one, isn't it? There you go.
La la for me. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Fool for 14, a fool forever.
Hi, this is X, Doc X, alongside Freestyle.
Yeah.
On Sunday, the 11th of December, we will be speaking about the maturity of the black man of the 21st century. Is he mature?
I think so.
Is his ego out of whack?
Maybe so.
Is the women around him feeding into that?
That could be so.
I mean, these are questions and a lot more we'll be talking about between the hours of 8 and 11 p.m. Sunday, 11th of December, 2022.
So join us, Freestyle and Doc X. So this Sunday coming, the 11th of December, on Feferity Radio and live on our YouTube channel. Well, there you have it. So again, this is the conversation.
You said you think so, right? You agree?
No, based upon the promo. This is what we are looking at, isn't it? Because then, you know, we're looking at maturity here. You know, by saying what we've told people, it's good to have that people, because people are coming in and out and there's different messages coming through. But we don't have to sort of dissect. We're looking at the maturity of the black man. It's his ego. You know, is it matured through his ego? So basically now we should look at emotional maturity. If we're looking at ego, if we're looking at relationship, how that egotistic behavior of the immatured man affect the black woman.
If we, I mean, going back to where I was at before, like the whole thing affects the black woman. These are just it's the effect, and then there's a breakdown. Then you can go to the music. You can go. It's just that happened. You said the promo. So if it's about what with the woman, you know what I'm saying? The type of man that's been developed is quite demonic in terms of the black man. He has lost his way as a human being, has become a demon. He's become somewhat like a European in the way he looks at life, in terms of the ancient and the slaver human being called the European. He's now, he's got 1,000,001 kids like a pirate and like a slave breeder. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of the would now affect. He as a slave in the cultural capitalist concept has no time for his children, so he can't give his children no values because he's too busy breeding other women and wanting to go and smoke drugs or get weed or fight some guy over some nothingness. You know what I'm saying? So it's just children, are being brought up with all this murder and death that the Europeans are calculating and bringing together so that black people can be caught up in the view to need to kill each other because of the hypnotic effect of music and mind programming. So a woman is not doing very well out of that. The nowadays black man. Right now, she's fighting against him, isn't she? Because most of the time he has got no sense. He doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't learned anything about fatherhood because he doesn't really know what fatherhood is. Most black men just have children and then they guess. They don't go to. There's no more now so than before. Have special classes or special people that say, well, look at this. There's no real wild white people, and the Europeans are looking at DNA and genetic inheritances and classes and the black man just sees a woman or the woman sees a guy, and it's either in the modern day term, oh, has he got any money? You know what I'm saying? She has no interest in him really in terms of him as a human being, and you know his needs and wants. Whether he's a tough guy who likes to fight and box, whether he's a nerd who likes to read books. She doesn't even know what she wants. If she thinks he's nice enough to look at, she'll look at a guy and think, oh, he's nice, move to him or let him move to her or whatever, have him, and then realize he's boring. But because he looked nice, he looked like he was worth spending some time with, rather than knowing what she's actually looking for and what she wants. And the man having all these kind of these relationships with people that want to kill people, and he's sitting now with headphones on all day long, listening to guys talking about stabbing each other and, you know, smoking and kissing up and having sex with women and girls and listening to that is being affected by that, because that's a common scientific knowledge, that if you continually listen to something like the news, which has got a lot of stress involved, it stresses you out. People sit at home stressed, even though they have nothing to do with what's going on in a certain particular part of the world. They become stressed because you're passing on the energy of that stress to the viewer, or to the viewer and the listener. You see what I'm saying? So if we have turned our music into music about death, murder, killing, drugs, sex, illicit sex, pornography, if we've turned what we listen to when we're relaxed, they're talking about the alpha and the beta waves and all this whole nother science around that.
I didn't even know those kind of music at all.
Right.
I mean, you know, because again, it depends on where you turn your light on. Where you turn your light on, isn't it, really?
Well, maybe we should all turn the light on where you've turned it on, and then there would be no killings, maybe.
No. I mean, basically, my piece is not really, it's for me. Well, and that will attract others as well. But it's not, you know what I mean, it's not upon others to be like that. I'm not like that at all. And this is how I view. But when we're talking about this emotional immaturity of the black man, and you're saying that
you keep bringing it back to the I and the individual. That's why we keep having this.
The immaturity of the black men, or
no, we're talking about a general group that we know is out there. If you're not a part of it, I'm not a part of it. Jim is not a part of it. But that goes without saying. Why are you bringing yourself into something that has nothing to do with you?
Yeah. What the word again?
I thought it does exist, because we're talking about an existential fact.
Right.
We're not talking about what you're doing or what I'm doing.
No. Let's look at this as well, because we talk about the music, right? I mean, you might have your opinion about it, but let's look at gospel music. The other day I went to a gospel concert. It's the second annual, Gospel Forward concert in West, London. And you have lots of young people there who are, compared to the life of these other people, a group of people that do exist, these were young people who are trying to make life for themselves, trying to make a difference.
Yeah, so I don't understand. I'm still lost again.
So what I'm saying is there are churches that provide alternative for people who might be having a very bad, experience in life, who might have a very tough time in life. Because again, the maturity is not really about age, isn't it? It depends on the individual environment, upbringing, home. For that, and it depends on the amount of experience in a particular, the amount of experience that individual have experienced. So sometimes it takes people 40, 50 years. This is why I play the fella track, full forever is not a full at 40 is not full forever, because people say that. These are all terms that people use as if people are not really matured yet. So there are places that offer different way that people can change their life, isn't it?
Yeah. What's that got to do with maturity? You know what I'm saying? What you're saying is that, again, you're bringing up little
because the maturity doesn't stay forever. That's what I'm saying. People don't stay forever. People grow. People develop. People learn.
Bruv, but you got 75. So you got 74, 75-year-old men who are dumb. You know what I'm saying? They've lived 75 years and they're drunks. You know what I'm saying? There's, that I hear what you're saying. But
those people are not going to change, are they?
Well, you just said that they don't stay full forever, and I'm saying people stay full for a long time. I mean, there's just contrary arguments like all the time. So that doesn't help the situation. It just confuses it, because we're talking about what we're seeing happening and developing the community as is on a general scale in the media en masse. Not what they're doing. They've got a church in Brixton that houses a lot of young people. You know what I'm saying? I've been to dances where the young people they rave and and then at the end they say a prayer and all this sort of. There's all different types of people, but they are running from those type of people. They are not the headliners that are shooting each other on the street, which is what we're talking about. And we're talking about the maturity of that development. We're talking about how is it that we still have women mating with men that they don't know, or just having men who they don't know nothing about each other in the 21st century. That's the difference between the 21st century and the 19th. You have so much more at hand to make your decisions in terms of finding a partner or finding a man or finding a woman, and you're still using the 19th century module to deal with them. You understand what I'm saying?
It's a cause and effect.
Yeah. And
right?
what was go on.
The cause and effect thing is going from let's say our generation then the so-called Windrush generation, and you're coming up all these years forward.
We've got a call on the line, so just
to look at the fact that we haven't advanced in the system. We haven't, so therefore
we're going backwards, bro. In my opinion,
it is a thing where.
No, one second. Let me bring a call on the line. So welcome to Prosperity. Sorry, tell us where you're coming from. You're on. I mean, what's on your mind?
I'm just from wherever I sit at. But I've been hearing the topics. I've been hearing y'all talk, and it sounds really good. It's just that we're getting lost in it a little bit, guys. We need to come up with solutions for these problems. Not just sit around.
Bruv, this is what I've been talking for 20 years.
That's right.
Right, but if there's a solution, no, bro.
Let me line.
Go on, sir.
What I'm trying to add to it is this. The solutions is, like, basically, what can the kids be doing after school that can help the parents, keep them in the house or give them some activities to do? This is how we have to come up with solutions in our community on how to better it.
Oh, come on, bro. In America, you sound American. Bro, there's hundreds of people who are not even got money that are putting their money into doing this stuff for school, right? And whilst it's pedigree, and we can say, wicked, it's not a solution. A solution is an end to a problem. There's many people across London who have got after-school clubs. I've worked at after-school clubs. That is not a solution. That's just that's like a plaster over a gaping wound. What I'm trying to look at.
What do you suggest? What do you suggest is done that can make, the maturity level stick? I was talking about getting a plan out. I'm doing a brochure now that's showing kids calling yourself an N-word is not helping us.
And you see all this stuff
I'm working on a brochure doing that. Let me finish, if I can finish. I'm working on a brochure that's going to show calling yourself an N-word is just like calling yourself an idiot.
And you're not the first person, bro. You're not the first person. You won't be the last. That is not what's going to help.
I'm sick of going into Tesco's and walking into like JD Sports and having to hear the N-word over and over again.
Yeah.
So what's happening is we're being bamboozled into being calling ourselves low class people.
We're not, bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're not though. The music, everything that you're hearing now today, right?
Well,
American,
now the music is taken over by the rock people. We know this now.
No, that's for the part, bro.
Now controlled by
it was always controlled by them. It was. There's no new takeover.
No, definitely. I agree with you on that.
So 15 years ago,
not so much in hip hop.
Oh, definitely
in hip hop and reggae now is more controlled by more of like the rock and roll kind of people that don't want to see us succeed.
Right. So
we have to kind of break out of this psychosis that we're all in. And I want to say all of us.
I wish you was Stormzy saying that. I wish you was Jay-Z saying that. What you say is not.
Then you would probably listen.
Right. That's right. That's right. Because I know this.
Hold that kind of value. Nobody's gonna pay. They probably gonna look at me and go, oh, "Shut the hell up."
Well, not so much that. Just ignore what you said. Remember, I've been doing this when this was at its lowest ebb. I did shows upon shows about showing you where we'd be today. You get what I'm saying? As a Ghetto Wallish, how we were developing into this. No, and I mean, like, it's just not possible that they're gonna listen because I'm a no one to most people. So therefore, all this like is if we are not pressurizing, right, the artists by not buying their music, or you know what I mean. You can't have, you know, you're saying the
But
N-word.
Dr. X is
How
impossible. It's
can
impossible.
grown men, mature grown men, be talking the N-word like you're a baby? That's what you say. I would say to my daughter when she was 6, don't say the N-word. You can't tell me as a big man, as a grown developed man, don't say the N-word.
Doc,
like I'm frightened of the word.
Doc X,
I can still say nigger
Doc X,
and say, you know, we shouldn't be saying
Doc
that rather
X.
than saying
If
the
you're
N-word.
gonna call yourself that, how do you think? I mean, I would join
You
in
saying
with
you
your
still
fight with
you're
this. I
still
would join
saying
in. I
N-word.
would go around calling my brothers. I would go around calling my brothers that.
No,
But
you
I came
don't.
up on,
No,
like, you know, I came up listening to like, you know, Brand Nubians. So everything I heard them say in the verses was brother. So I grew up on that mathematics. You know what I mean? So
right. And there's
would
Brand
never really
Nubians,
look
there's
at
De La Soul, there's all the different
N-word.
types. But that's not the most influential though. Sorry?
You're down on yourself, really.
No, I'm not
All
me.
of them
Listen,
we
I'm
We're doing to ourselves.
bruv, I'm an articulate, I'm a commentator. So I know these dynamics. What I am saying to you is that I am looking at the dynamics that affect the masses, not what affects me. I can manage that.
Yeah, but hold on.
Nobody's going to tell me to say that I'm a grown man.
Let's share this platform.
No one's going to say to me, say that, don't say because I'm talking about myself. It's already out there.
You want to keep on. Let me say, you're defending the N-word? That's what I'm asking
this is what I'm saying. You're saying the N-word. It sounds to me that's immature. Either it's nigger or it's not. It's a word. It's not a gun. It's not going to kill anyone. N-word just means that you bowed. It wasn't black people.
What I'm saying, it does kill the soul. And we're soulful people. So it does kill the soul, for one, it does kill. The other thing that we got to look at.
No, guns kill.
We have to turn ourselves kind of inside out because we're all under pain. When we came out of slavery, when we was freed from slavery, we didn't even know better than to put it into the textbooks. That the textbooks they've grown up on us when we was reading textbooks back in school. And they would say the slave did this, the slave did that. I got in trouble once in school because I said, no, the black person did this, the black person did that. They said, well, why are you saying that? I said, because my people wasn't slaves. They were black people.
But they were slaves. I mean, that's just semantic.
No,
I get you.
They was treated as slaves. They wasn't slaves. They were our people.
I understand.
They
I mean,
were
that's just
treated
semantic.
as slaves.
That's semantic.
They wasn't
It's
slaves.
not the
Nobody
reality,
came out
though.
The woman said, you're a slave.
Yeah,
You
we
know what I
understand
mean? So
that. But that's like saying you're a prisoner of war.
That title.
Yeah, but it's like saying that you're a prisoner of war, but you're not a prisoner of war because you wasn't born a prisoner of war.
Exactly.
I understand, but it's still semantic. I get it. It's not really that.
You know what I mean?
It's not going to change the dynamics of what's going on.
All I'm saying is, we need to come up with a solution for where's all our money going.
I mean, Stefan, let me say
churches.
something. I mean, Stefan, I'm glad you're calling, but I mean, what we're dealing with here, I can tell you categorically that Dr. X is not dealing with solutions. Definitely, this is what I said, but I'm glad because, you know, I mean, I like him, but when he said we should stop buying those artists' music, to me that indicates a form of solution, right?
That's a form of protest. That's a form of development. Yeah, that's not a solution.
Well, if we don't buy it, how would they perform?
This is what I'm talking about, the ego. It's always back to you. I don't buy it. We're not talking about you.
It's destroying you. Anything you do as a people, if you are buying something, this happened with the native Indians as well. They just woke up. You know, they got casinos now. They own businesses now. They own ranches now. You know what I mean? They just woke up recently. But they went at it for 10 years. They put their money together and they said, yo, this firewater, AKA whiskey, is killing us. And so we have to come up with a solution to save our heritage. Within 10 years, they was able to do that.
Yeah,
they formulated the reservations where they now control those reservation lands.
Yeah, they had,
right?
you know, they've always had control.
We have to do the same thing as a people. The only way we're going to get to the table is come up with simple solutions.
No, it's not, because you don't understand the war that you're in. You think that you're going to come up with the answer. Gaddafi, who is 10 times, 1,000 times more, 10,000 times more powerful than me, tried to come up with the solution for Africa, and they destroyed him. You understand? It's not as simple as just, you know, people are so egotistical now, which is what I talked about as well as the black man, that they believe if they say something in their head, it can be real. You don't understand, most of us don't understand the ergonomics that has involved in trying to be free. Otherwise we'd be free already. Do you think it's now, do you think everything that you've said in the last 5 minutes, I've heard hundreds of times.
Hold on,
I'm doing two things at once. Sorry about that. when you said about the man saying he owns 6 houses, right? I was like, that's cool. And then I heard a comment come in saying something about, oh, that's impossible. If we keep saying things are impossible, we're never going to achieve nothing.
No, bro, but I mean, that's semantical arguments. I get it. I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is that we're achieving a lot. We are achieving a lot.
Hold on. One second, brother. If I put my money with you and put my money with Freestyle and put my money with this guy, anything is possible. By tomorrow, we can have an off-license store.
Yeah, sir. I understand that. This is why people keep thinking. I'm not.
We need to come together in 4 or 5 groups and put our money together and open up chicken shops.
This is not new, bruv. You're talking about some old stuff we've been doing for years. This is not new. This is not obviously this doesn't work. It doesn't bring us to the mountaintop. We've been doing it. They're doing it in America right now. The Jamaicans came here.
It needs to be more.
They're not like that. The system that you're under, the system you've been.
What they don't like.
No, you got to
go back to our
worry about it.
Tactics and start worrying about what people don't like.
Right. So that's a whole different stuff.
This one don't like that. And this one don't like this. We got to be. We invented the whole scenario of the mafia movement.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, if it's too, bro,
our mathematics, we have to go back to that technique again.
Right. So here the difference is, right? The Italian mafia achieved a different type of objective. The black man
they took our mathematics from us when we had Wall
Right.
Street.
So what did we do?
Those are all the semantics that we used.
This conversation sounded 20 years ago.
Right.
Me.
So
a lot of things have happened in that time.
So
not talking our business loud in the street. Taking care of our women, our women taking care of us, watching our children. That's the mathematics we was on. I knew the shit was gonna shift when hip hop came out.
When gangster rap, hip hop
up there to wear the do-rag on his head, I knew where they was taking hip hop, where it was gonna go, because it was too intelligent hip hop. So now they got to dumb it all down. Now everybody can join in the game. You see?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, this is stuff. This is not new.
We have to go back to We have to go back to.
But that's just, bro. You don't have that. You know, you're just another one like myself.
I mean, Doc X.
Who's have to talk. We have these words that we can say, but we cannot execute them. It's just vibes in the air. You're not a musician. You have no real national influence.
Executed.
Listen, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. If it worked like that, it would have worked a long time ago. You're not the first in this.
Make it work.
You see what I'm saying? Well, like I'm saying, I tell you what works. Somebody of a supreme standard of status in this world that's against us, like the madman who they call.
Don't worry about them, man. Don't worry about them.
I'm not talking about what you're worried about. I'm talking about the collective mindset. Because the individual people keep pointing to themselves as an aspiration, as a greatness, and you're not it. I'm not it. Freestyle's not it. It's what we can get the people them to rise up to do.
It's impossible. It's impossible with you.
And Kanye.
You don't have to be great to be focused.
I didn't say anything about focus. I didn't say anything. You're just making it up. This is what people do. You add to stuff that wasn't there and thinking that you're making real sense. You're not. Because you just added you don't have to be focused. I never mentioned anything about focus. I said that the people that make
the people. What is the solution then, brother?
Well, bro, that's what you want. That's not what I want. I want to air the facts. I want the facts to be in people's minds.
What happened?
While they're thinking, because I know how it happened.
No, but after the fact, what happened?
The reason why you talk and mention what you're trying to push across a point, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this is not how it works.
Yes,
after the fact,
that's how
you
it
say
works.
You want the fact, but after the fact, for example, say the music. After you discuss that we're buying music or these musicians are selling out, they're causing, they're picking out this disdain towards our women. It's not growing the community. If we boycott them,
but that's all planned though. That's all planned, yo. Yeah. That's a plan you could see happening from a mile away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But after the fact of all of these things, I mean, Doc X.
See, that's the ego at work. You can see that. Who can see it from a mile away?
Why? That's what that is.
You know what I'm saying? Like the language we use, the language you use is so egotistical and arrogant. That's why we're not evolving. That's why we're immature. Because you can't tell me I can see that or say, oh, you can see that from a mile away, like as if you know that and everybody else should know that.
Let me say this.
There's a whole bunch of people.
The caller asking was because we've now know the problem.
No, the problem has always been there.
We've all known the problem. It's always been there, and it will continue to be there. But he's asking you, how do we move? He's asking you
years,
how do we
yo.
move forward.
Bro,
But
I've been at
it
this.
seems as
I've
if-
been at
hold
this.
on,
Bruv,
it
I've been
seems
at
as
this
if-
for
it seems as if-
23 years.
Yeah, but it seems as if
But
probably
you all ask the same questions. What do you think? What he's saying is new?
No, but
he's
hold on a
saying
minute.
something I heard
20
like 25 years ago.
But 25 years ago, I mean, how many 25-year-old have been developed individually?
It's
to
the same
surpass-
if you say ABC in
No, but
in 2000,
what I'm saying is-
you saying ABC in 2022, it's the same thing. Nothing's moved. The ABC
Right,
hasn't
so what-
changed.
What is the solution?
Exactly.
There is none.
Do you
There
think-
is none.
do
Then
you
We've
don't
had-
talk about
you
the
have
problem.
Listen,
So then we
you
can
don't
end
have
it
no
then.
power.
We
All
can
of you
end
are
it. There is no
powerless.
hope for our community.
You have no power.
There is no
You
hope
talk
for
as if
us
you
then.
have power. That's what your ego's at work.
No,
you're not
no,
trying
no,
to
no, no.
create
No,
power.
no.
You're trying to
No,
talk
no,
about
no.
yourself and what you know.
No,
That's
I'm
not what
saying
power
I have
is. That's not how
yo.
you
I'm
develop
saying-
power.
I'm saying, what's the solution?
Look.
I'm
There
saying
is.
a solution
If there
to the
is a
problem.
solution,
Maybe
right?
we can talk
How
to
powerful
kids
am
after
I?
school
You're not
and
gonna.
make
You
farmers
just.
stay out of
It's just.
prison.
You might. as
So
well-
are
you
you
can't
saying
really
what
do
you've been
the
saying
whole
20
thing.
years
There's
ago?
communities, there's charities, there's all of these people already in existence. It's just your ego that's talking. You think you know stuff. I think I know stuff. That's just the ego talking. It doesn't do anything. If it did, Obama would have done something. If it did, Gaddafi wouldn't be dead. These are powerful people. You on the end, you think, well, if I told my brethren and he tells his
I'm
brethren,
asking
like,
you,
what the hell is that?
solution? You keep going into an argument.
There is none.
now.
That you don't have the power for a solution. You don't understand that.
There's no solution.
I
Why
didn't
are we
say
having
there
the
wasn't a
topic?
solution.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Because we do a lot of things that we're having. Like, why, if there's nobody having sex with girls in their bottom, why do they sing songs like that? What are you talking
All right,
about?
first of all, let's tone it down, be respectful.
Exactly.
One second.
I mean, this is
Let
really.
me take it down a little
But
bit.
this is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
the
yeah,
maturity
let me
as
turn it down a
well.
little
The
bit.
emotional side.
Turn
this
it down a little bit.
is
Let me
what
turn
this
it
is
down.
this
Let
is
me
what
turn
I'm
it down.
talking
One
about.
second.
No, Dr.
As soon as you hear
Let me
something
say
that's
something.
controversial,
Dr.
all of sound is
So what we
disrespectful.
gotta do?
Let's slow down.
We gotta talk on a
Let's
level
slow
where
down.
we're not shouting.
Let's show that we're mature.
Let's not shout.
But what are you talking
Let's
about?
just
Not
talk one
mature.
at a time.
What I said is what I
All
said
right,
is
let's
what's
just
in
go
the
on.
music.
Talking
Talking
and
is a
shouting,
caller.
carry
He's a
on like,
caller.
you know.
He's a caller. He
I
called
was
in.
asking
Don't
you
don't
for-
don't
So
tell me
what I'm
what a
saying
cooler is. I
is,
know what a cooler
we're
is.
is.
talking about the
That's all I'm
maturities
asking,
in.
yo.
We're talking about the maturity.
I've just
Sorry,
explained.
hold on. But we're
Can
talking.
a quiet man come in?
Yeah, I mean we're
I've
talking
just
about.
explained.
Yeah, we go.
I've just explained.
We are now. I mean, this is something that is going to go down for a very long time because it's on YouTube.
I think we lost it when we took the belts out the home, to be honest with you.
Right.
See what I'm
I was
saying?
raised my grandma was very strict.
I was raised by a belt,
with me.
and I've stabbed people, and
I
I've gone
think
to
that
jail.
we've
I mean, Doc X, let
allowed
him
other
continue.
communities to
It's
come
just
into
a-
our
it's just a
homes
view.
and tell us
But you are
how
having
to-
a view
how to
as
raise our
well.
children.
Why can't you just be of somebody else's view?
Because
So,
my
my
dad-
brother, you're talking about culture.
Yeah, and we're talking about controversy and
Yeah, but
and
there's no
contrary.
solution.
Which
There's
the
everything.
culture
There's
is
solution
obvious.
for everything. You don't have one.
I don't have
And,
no
and that is
solution,
can
yeah.
be really no. What I'm saying is, it can be frustrating for others listening because we all know the problem. We all know the problem. It's not new. But within all of this
know.
problem, people have been trying and working out to solve it. People have been matured enough to understand the reason why they're in that problem, and they've been solving
For
it.
decades. You can't solve a problem that's still here.
Anything is solvable. We're only on a planet. It's planet Earth.
Right.
Anything is
Right.
solvable.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
if the native Indians can come off the reservation and get themselves together, why can't we?
Of course,
That's
but
all
then
I'm
we're not.
saying.
Yeah, again,
You know what I mean?
and
So
that
there
makes
is
that.
a solution.
But I'm saying,
if
so
we
why
keep
can't
saying
we
there's no
stop?
solution.
I didn't say there was no solution. I said I don't have none. What
Yeah,
you-
but you said there is no solution.
I didn't say that. I
You've been
said
saying
I
this
don't.
for over 20 years.
I
There
said
is
you
no
keep people.
solution.
No, I'm saying you don't have the solution. You,
there is no solution.
No, I'm asking you to put
don't
our
have
heads
one.
together so we can work
Yeah,
on one.
this brother that's
I don't
talking
have the
don't have
answer.
one. I
I'm
don't
just
have
saying
one.
If we can put our heads together as black men and we can come up with a solution, like maybe we can say,
and
let's make the N-word sound like ridiculous to say that. Let's make
You got
let's
no
make
power to
pulling
do
your
that.
pants down and showing your buns. Let's make that look whack.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you have no
kids don't
power
wanna
to do
it.
that. You have to get power
These
to
are
do
like
that first.
solutions that can uplift our community a little bit.
because you
know
talk-
what I'm
but it's
saying?
talk, though.
What can we do
I-
to uplift ourselves?
To be disrespectful,
make
to be
ourselves
respectful,
feel better
to
about
be
ourselves.
respectful. If I mention something that's happening in the community, like, and it's X-rated, I'm being disrespectful. Yeah, it's been appropriated for our community. It's been pre-appropriated on the music that young people under the age of 10 can go on the internet and find. But if I say it to you, all of a sudden I'm being disrespectful because you can't manage that argument. I get it. But what I'm saying is that
I wasn't saying you. I didn't mention you was being disrespectful.
you said let's keep it respectful.
You shouting and yelling.
Well,
That's
okay.
all. I just said
I heard that.
We can talk
Right.
at a reasonable tone. We don't have to shout.
I didn't. Yeah, and that's fine. What I'm saying to you is that once we understand and get the ego, under control, and understand that none of us individually have the answer, and none of this. What we should do. What we should do has been going on for 25. I've had groups of people sitting amongst with what you should do. Right. So I don't. What I'm saying is that you can see what's happening. If you look at what Kanye West has done with the Jew situation, that sparked an argument that's never been talked about in the history of us as a black people.
That's not our situation. That's his situation.
There you go.
He signed a contract with these people.
Well, there you go.
He signed a contract with these people. That's his situation.
Well, there you go.
That's nothing to do with the black community.
Yes, it has. That's got to do wholly to do with the black community.
He signed a contract. He married that woman.
It doesn't matter. See, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So my argument, I won't agree with you because my argument ain't the same as yours.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. My argument doesn't agree with your
but how
argument.
say it doesn't matter?
What doesn't matter, sir?
Because
what am I saying it doesn't matter too?
He's talking, but I mean, you didn't listen to it. He's talking about marrying that person. How come? And you said it doesn't matter.
Right. And so what are you asking me?
But then you're trying to prove something else.
What matters to me?
Their decision doesn't matter, but you're trying to prove that.
No, what I'm saying, what he said about the Jews is a fact, is a truth, and where I come from, or what my development is from.
You can't say that if I'm doing business with you and you're Italian or you're Jewish and I'm insulting your spaghetti. Of course, I'm asking for trouble.
Of course, you should be asking for trouble. You're a rebel. You're rebelling against the people that are fundamentally oppressing. Not just your people, all the people that look like you. How can it be his situation when there's hundreds of people?
But if I did do
back to you again.
People,
back to you again. Back to you again. I don't. Who? It doesn't matter because you are not relevant in the terms of what's going on in the whole situation. I understand like myself is not relevant. We just have points of view, and I get it. But it shouldn't always be back to you. Why is it always back to me and back to you?
Okay.
It should be about what's out there.
Dr. X.
Why did he do that?
Dr. X.
If I was him, you're not him. He did that.
Dr. X, hold on a minute. Stefan, hold on a minute. Stefan, please, 1 second. Like I said, this is kind of like I'm listening from afar, and this conversation is about the maturity of the black man in the 21st century, and it wouldn't come across to others listening that we've matured enough.
No, that's self-control. That's not to do with maturity.
No, well,
if I'm talking when
is
you're
about
talking,
the self-awareness of that.
And
three
self-control.
People having a conversation, and also as a radio, I'm conducting this. As a caller, you give precedent to the caller. And now what I'm saying is people listening to this, again, it begs the question, how mature is a black man or maybe some black men in this 21st century?
Well, that's your view.
So, I mean, Stefan, let me ask you the question, because then in your view, how matured is the black man in this 21st century?
I think that not matured at all. I mean, in some aspects, as far as business goes, we are mature. As far as you're looking at like athletes and stuff like that, they got endorsements, they look like they're doing well. But as far as a community goes, most of the black men are behind bars. Most of the fathers are locked up behind bars. So that's not really a hard question to answer. You know what I'm saying?
Which has been going on for years and years.
Also, the maturity level stems on the fact that if I can walk into JD Sports and I have to hear the N-word being played and I don't say nothing to the manager, that means immaturity too on my behalf. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when I walked in JD Sports the other day, I had to talk to the manager and say, why is this playing in here? And he was like, oh, that's just the music. I said, yeah, but I'm a black man. I don't want to hear the N-word in here. Mm-hmm. And he said, nobody has ever come up to him and say that yet.
I see this.
So that's something to think about too as well.
Like I said, the N-word, like from the moment you say the N-word, it shows that you have a subservience to these people because they're telling you what you can and cannot say. The word is the word, like any word.
Hold on, he's talking.
He stopped talking.
Oh, right.
He's talking to someone else.
Sorry.
So as I'm saying to you that it doesn't really matter. People can say what they want. None of this is helping. What I am saying is that I'm just putting it out there. I'm not bringing no solutions. I'm saying this is what's out there. If it's not out there, say it's not out there. But what we're doing is, this is the solution. This is what we shouldn't say.
Do you think it's right to walk into a department store?
You're fixated on nigger. You're fixated on that. I'm not fixated on that. I've heard this
Well,
for.
the Indians-
I've done interviews about it. I've done whole shows about it.
Kansas City Chiefs, can I finish? The Kansas City Chiefs is a national football team, right? And they was going around using the symbolicness of the native Indian. Like they was doing the tomahawk thing, and they was also doing the hat with the Indian chief painted on it.
The Washington Redskins was doing it too.
I mean, can I finish? So all the Indians got together and they said, this is not right. You're mimicking our people. So for me to say that, you think it's right that I want to walk into a department store? Do I sound like the crazy one walking into a department store and have to hear the N-word?
Like I keep saying, if you keep saying N-word, it sounds retarded, in my opinion. Like, why just, you know, it's a word.
Sounds like, brother.
Yeah, that's
our main problem there.
Well, that's
because
what I'm saying.
I don't want to be calling my kid a nigger, and I don't want.
Yeah, I wouldn't call.
I don't.
My children don't use
we
that.
have to address the problem. We have to address
that is
the
not
problem
an important
from the
problem.
Of the problem.
People dying is an important
it's a big
problem.
It,
yeah,
it deals with,
it's the songs about guns and knives and killing black people. Nigger isn't the one.
But the reason that's the problem because they see themselves as ignorant. That's the problem.
No, they are ignorant though. What do you mean? They can barely spell. Some of them can barely spell.
They're just being told that ignorant is being cool.
No, some of them are ignorant. Some of them can barely spell, and some of them can barely read and write. That's a fact.
Well,
and I mean that's not ignorant.
They're
not being told they're ignorant. They've been sequestered.
Doing chores around the house.
They've been sequestered.
Kids are being raised properly.
You're being sequestered.
You said yourself, a lot of these guys are having babies, and they're not really taking care of the kids.
Because they're being sequestered by a system.
It's an ego trip.
They've been sequestered by a system and a bunch of people who believe that if they say, oh, you know, the N-word, and if they use that, somehow they're making headway. This is, you know, I mean. Somebody that can make headway is somebody like you. I'm saying that. I'm saying that start has been there for 20 years and it still hasn't started yet. What I'm saying is that.
Can we end it?
What I'm saying is that there's other processes at play. Kanye West, which you just threw down, has opened up a can of worm that's never been opened before, and you say
Kanye West didn't open up nothing.
No.
Kanye West signed a deal with these people, got in bed with them.
Show me where it's been. Show me and name that person that opened it. Tell me, because I'm talking about the regular human being.
The guy doesn't even like our people.
No, you see, you just gone on to something else. You just say this because you have something against him.
He's O.J. Simpson and us.
You've got something against him, and I get that. I get that. I get that.
For this whole O.J. Simpson.
I get that. I get that. I get that's what you believe. I get that's what you believe. I don't believe that.
Nothing but disrespect us, hanging with Donald Trump, doing all these things.
I guess what you have a different belief to me.
We're kind people. We're not kind to each other.
Right. So I get that. I've heard that so many times as well.
Everyone else, but we're not kind to ourselves.
I've heard that as well. Whatever he's doing,
in our community.
Whatever this guy's doing, called Kanye West, he's opened up something that's never been opened before, and you can't name me that person.
No, it has been opened before. You guys wasn't tuning in.
What do you mean? I've been at this. If you're the only person that's ever talked about the Jews in any great way is Louis Farrakhan. I'm talking about a regular individual in regular society has never done that before. Yeah, nobody of that notoriety. What I'm talking about is a commercial individual in society.
He's a celebrity.
Right, which is a commercial individual.
He's not in the real world.
Right. So I scratched that. Right, a commercial individual.
Me and you.
Right. So why are you going on? I've already scratched it, bruv. I've already scratched it. I'm saying to you,
has he been paid though? That's the thing.
He's a celebrity, right? There's no celebrity.
Has he been paid to speak on that?
We can't turn our celebrities into leaders. They're celebrities. They're not leaders.
That's what we must. That's got nothing to do with what he said, though.
Has it been paid though?
What he said has affected the community across the internet and the Twitterverse. So it's something that has happened. Now, me saying it, which I've been saying for years, it doesn't do much because I don't have that power or influence. Black people, in my opinion, do not understand power. They think power is if you got a Gucci chain on, or if you're wearing some African gown with beads and a stick. They think power is about some visual identity. They don't understand how power mechanisms work. So for the fact that the guy's attacked power, that the guy's embarrassed power.
X-Clan. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, of course I know.
I used to listen to X-Clan, and they talked about empowerment all the time. And it wasn't about holding a stick and beads. It was about building foundations.
Who said it was? Who said
shit.
Well, who said
You know,
I was
so
talking
I
about?
don't understand that mathematics showing about the power
All right.
thing.
All
You
of the early hip hops from X
X-Clan was
Clan.
always talking about that,
X-Clan.
knowledge yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
all of
let's
them
try and slow it
at that
down.
time.
Let's slow it down and give other chances to other people because
Other, yeah, but I'm a guest
we-
as much as they're your guest. I'm saying that.
no, I'm
X-Clan-
talking about maybe there's another caller coming in as well, and there are more messages I want to read as well.
X-Clan was a part of
Guys,
it.
I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, a few
Thank
of
you
them.
for the opportunity to say some words on my for me to voice my opinion. I appreciate it, and I'll speak to y'all soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for the call.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
rise
having
up.
me. Take care, y'all. I'm
Right.
still watching it though. Thanks, guys.
Ciao.
Right.
Yeah.
See, what I wanted to say was, when all
Yeah.
said and done, because it's been a long to and fro,
Uh-huh.
but from
Some
where
messages. Mhm.
from where I'm sitting in there, I'm frustrated as a black man
Why?
born in this country, and to see the amount of history even that has been exposed, hidden history that now is open to us,
Right.
and we can see present day what is happening around us with these governments and all the behaviors of these governments. Why is it that we're not it's like a collective cowardice, if you like, or
Absolutely,
fear,
I've said that. Yeah.
right, where we're not saying, nah, man, enough is enough. 400 years, 500 years, let's stop it now. Let's let's deal with this situation and not how long are we gonna keep talking? That's the point. How long are we gonna keep talking without no action? And I know as an individual.
Well,
what
as a
I'm
black,
doing,
I mean, maybe that's
right?
another question as well we need to ask, isn't it? In the UK, whether in terms of the maturity of the black man, in areas of what Doc X was mentioning, how far or how little have they progressed in that sort of state?
Well, as I said, right now, more than ever before, when you see how the behavior of these people right around the World Health Organization, the governments, it's all in chaos. And we're in the middle of it. Suffering because of it.
The majority of the majority.
Why don't we say...
We're not gonna, because you're not a leader. You're not gonna be able to endorse that.
No, you say we. I said we.
Yeah.
Why don't we?
Somebody has to do it though, bro. I'm not just saying it's not you and it's not me. I'm not knocking your thing. I'm saying the reason why I mentioned Kanye West is because that's out there. People that don't even think about the whole situation. I've heard it from a guy who he just come out of nowhere. Even though they say you chat shit and da. I'm saying, yeah, he does. But listen to what he's opened up. Look, it's like the Pandora's box. Listen to what he's opened up. If you hate him because he slept with this girl,
spoke the truth.
Yeah, he slept with this girl. Like I don't know that.
Right,
all this stuff that I've talked about.
I mean, that stuff is a different.
But yes, but that is just a different point. What I'm saying is that he opened this Pandora's box, which cannot now be closed. So and then Kyrie Irving done something similar.
Yeah.
So if 10 of them at that level did that, it wouldn't need me and you. We just have to join in. We at this level we don't hold that power. Gaddafi, who wanted to change the currency into, they murdered him. They murdered him. They destroyed his country.
The African leaders didn't rally.
Well, what I'm saying that these are the people with power are the ones who are letting us down. The people that own the record industries, like Jamaica's just has just X'd out all the slap music on their radios. They should have, and I said that 15 years ago. These are the people, all these little guys like me and you in the corner saying, well, it's like owning a football team and say, well, you know what, they should have made Harry Keane take that penalty. Like, it's just talk, and it's good because you're venting. But understand, all you're really doing is venting. The brother just called talking about, we should do this and that. Everything that he mentions already being done or still being doing right now. So how is it you feel that you're doing something different by just bringing yourself in? It's because we are as a black race, we've developed this ego that says we are always we are always right.
Okay, there's a text here. Let me read it.
Well, there's a lot of ignorance,
this is from Angela. Okay, it's quite a long one, but let's go. It says, in my opinion, black men on the whole do not work as a collective. As an African father, his philosophy was, it takes a village to raise a child. Here in the UK, the law only allows limited control over the discipline of our children. The black man has been conditioned to restrain, and are now finding that they have free will up to limit of the law. To it goes two ways: the road to development, or the ones that think gangs and bullies work quick money by breaking the law. A lot of pressure is put on the own material things. Example, pressure and the mindset. Look down on those that don't have. Example, you need to have these things to gain respect. The thinking is wrong. Maturity comes with knowing who you are and taking your place as whole being, and using your knowledge and skills to help others to step up. I think that's a different one. Yeah, that's a different one. It's talking about the church and the capital state. So some on the we've got some as well on YouTube. Let's read from the bottom. It says Black from Nubian Black. Black economic acknowledgement, something like that. And it goes, we don't own the level of distribution, right? We can hear, this is from Lana. It says, we can hear without interrogation why K-West action are significant.
Why is his action? Is that a question? Or?
It looks like it says, we can't hear without interruption why Kanye West's West action are significant.
Is that a question?
It looks like it.
Well, from my point of view, like I said, I don't buy Yeezys. I don't really listen to his music, but I'm able to separate what he has said in terms of the argument that I know is not out there from his position. You know what I'm saying? These are the people that have the most to lose and the most to gain. And by when Shaquille O'Neal tried to put down Kanye West, a whole bunch of people turned against him as a black man, and he had to change his positioning because he thought he had the free run because he thinks he's a black man, and not like Charles Barkley. Whereas Charles Barkley, is an established sellout
Shaq
in
is
America.
a friend of Obama.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, what if so? By doing that, it shows you that these guys who have the power or in powerful positions are what really works. So if black people understood how power really worked, they would aim for people. They wouldn't be talking about themselves, this, that, because I've been a part of that for a couple of decades. I've been to loads of meetings. It doesn't matter what age. If you're doing that now and you're 20, 25, you're just starting the same sit again. It's not working.
Okay, there's another one here. This is from Nubian Black. It says the breakdown of the family and community is a major contributor.
Yeah, but again, it's not a breakdown. It's something that they fabricated in English culture, in British culture, in American culture, in European culture. You know what I mean? It's something they fabricated, they brought together. They didn't break down, they dissembled you by saying to you at one hand, oh, we're giving you all houses if you don't have a man. So they could have said, we're giving all houses to people who have families, like what they're doing now to the immigrants that they're using as slave labor. They're not saying to them, oh, if you don't have a man, you can come over here. They're saying, we'll take you and your family. So, Black Wall Street, people are trying to read back Wall Street in Atlanta. But they have a secret service in America, and many different types of secret service that are constantly have infiltrators into the music industry and all these different industries that are breaking and stopping black people from making it, because they need black people where they are in order to have the power that they have. If black people get, what would they do with the power that black people have?
Okay,
they have to you'd have to start to negotiate with them. They're a
here.
wicked and disgraceful race of people according what they've done to black people. So why would they be giving way to you?
Okay, Kilimanjaro is saying here, text here, I have so many texts, I just want to go through them before the time, you see? This kind of conversation is an ongoing thing anyway, so we can't find a solution today. It's impossible. So it's Kilimanjaro says our people...
who's looking for solutions though?
Our people were not slaves but enslaved, and it goes, tolerance is a powerful tool to maturity. That's from Kilimanjaro. Also we have from Sylvie says maturity is being able to talk to each other and respect each other. We can agree to disagree. That's what I'm saying. That's another big factor, isn't it? Of whatever way we're looking at maturity is about being able to talk about it, being able to listen, being able to disagree, and being able to find a solution. Because in life, you know, nothing without solution, a problem without solution is definitely an invisible problem. What do you say to that?
Of course, I don't understand what that means. You know what I mean? Like,
I say any problem that is haven't got solution is an invincible one.
Well, I mean, it depends on what the solution is. What I'm saying is that there is no solution like that. There's not, you know, solution by itself is not a feasible term. If you're saying that, oh, what we need, what you know, everybody has their own version. What we need to do is do this. Oh, this man who foreign said that he doesn't like the N-word. I don't like the term nigger. When you start talking like a child, they treat you like a child.
Those are very petty ones.
Right,
I'm
so
just saying,
right.
in a bigger scale of things, if there is no solution to the problem that faced humanity,
you had a man that was able.
That problem is
You
invisible.
cannot do it in England. You don't have that type of power. Nobody has that type of power on the English level. The person who had a little bit of power, in fact, a lot of power, was Gaddafi, and they know that. Because we're dealing with world powers. We're not dealing with the council here. The council is just a part of the power that exudes over the racial power in this country. Just like how, you know, the black guys have scored the goals, but in the newspaper, the white guy will be on the front page. Okay. They execute racism as a part of dealing with us.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, yeah, that we don't have the power here. Individually, but collectively,
that's right.
We can do anything.
No, well, but first,
look here, right? I'm looking at it like this. We're in a place where they robbed us of everything. There's nothing that they haven't robbed from us, and we're here. So okay, so what does that mean? We're here, and what? We should just keep saying every day, boy, they robbed us. Boy, they robbed us. Boy,
you know better than that, though, Jim.
So therefore, my point is, where do we get to the point where we say, enough is enough? All right, look here. For instance, for instance, which I maybe I don't know if I should be saying it on the radio, but as an individual, what they say we have to give them, for instance, council tax. Yeah, to me, council tax, electric bill, gas bill, all these bills, I don't believe we should be paying it.
But they're not the capital. You'd have to have a different system. Capitalist system won't work like that.
No. It's not about the system, though. It's not about the system. It's about us saying, this is not us. This is your thing. And we don't want no more of this thing. We want our own thing. So therefore, because everything you've got here, you got it through us. And then you have the cheek to turn around now and tell us, we've got to give you this and give you that and give you that. Yeah. No, there's a time where I'm going to say, no, I'm not giving you nothing.
Hopefully.
You owe me. So therefore, from you or me,
well, that's what
I'm not giving you nothing.
Isn't that what they're saying in America now with the ADOS and all that?
Yeah, but how many people are going to stand up and say, I'm not paying these bills.
No, none. You need
Okay,
leadership for that.
there's another one here. We've got from.
We don't have that.
I do it as an individual.
One second.
Yeah.
One second. There's a message here we've got, because this is like people are listening and they're contributing as well.
Yes.
I mean, for me, maturity is about what we do on today basis as well as the collective. So I'm trying to make everybody has a say here, not just us, but those who have taken time out to send messages. This is one is from Rudy in Erith. It says, "Hi X, just checking if this is working."
What's that got to do with maturity?
Yeah. What's going on?
You went into
I
this
don't know
whole
what that
big
means.
spiel.
I don't know what exactly that means. You know what I mean? I don't
You're
know.
expecting something to come out, and I guess
Yeah.
it's working.
Respect,
Respect, Rudy. Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
Nice to have you on board still. Big up Ian. Big up my brethren. He just texted me. I didn't have his name on my thing. He just texted me.
What does that say?
Huh?
What does that say?
What does what say?
The text. Is this to do with the show?
Yeah, he's saying that you should shut up.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, there would be no actually X right now, because then everything was, you know what I mean?
Everything with lockdown.
I mean, this is not
No,
really, but this is,
I'm only kidding. Is that what you're saying?
no, but I mean, you know, this is the level of maturity as well we should demonstrate, regardless of the world view of. I mean,
Ronald, big up, Ron.
Ronald,
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? This is about being a balanced thing, because we can all just occupy the same space.
He says the
It's
number
impossible.
is the number to call in does not ring through to the studio.
Which one does he got?
I don't know. It said the number to call in
Yeah.
does not ring through to the studio.
I don't know. It's okay. 07305417668.
Break that up, bro. Break it up.
0730
0730 541
7668.
7668.
Yeah.
That's 07305 417 668.
Yeah.
That'll get you through.
I mean, we got 20 minutes to go, so you can call in now. Another text here saying, some are, some aren't, in terms of maturity, in the diaspora. Maturity on...
Somebody's saying to you, why do you bother? Go on, Carl.
Some are and some aren't. We've got a call. Take this one. Let me just read this text quickly. It says, some are and some aren't in the diaspora. Maturity on what level? People can be both matured, committed in their discrimination to success in whatever they want. Determination to success, and in whatever they want to achieve. For example, the immature emotional in regards to commitment within family relationships. Yeah. So let's take this call anyway. We've got 19 minutes to go. Welcome to Feferity Radio. What you've got in your mind?
Hi. Sorry, what's your name?
Freestyle.
Freestyle. Okay. So
And what's yours?
My name's Kristen.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome.
Hi, Chris.
Observation Freestyle.
Chris. Is it the Kristen that I know?
Hi, Dr. X.
Yeah, you did. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Respect.
Yeah.
No, so all I wanted to say, and I'm not being biased, but it just seems that when Dr. X is speaking, people keep cutting him, including yourself, and when other people are talking and Dr. X interjects, you cut him. Can that kind of stop? Because it would be nice if I could hear some of what Dr. X has to say as well. I just feel like he starts on a run and he gets cut, whereas when he interjects, when other people are speaking, it's you bring it to attention. That's all I wanted to say, really. But it's a bit late in the day now. I was waiting for the number.
Right.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I'm
that's
glad.
What it sounds like the right observation.
Okay, no, it's valid, and then I will take that on board because this is all part of how we grow. You understand? I'm trying to control everything here because sometimes we talk about the maturity of the black man. We know we can be very emotional. In fact, I was going to read the definition of all of these things, so at least we've got a kind of view of where we are. But, that is not the intention, is to give everyone a platform, a space, because it's not about really saying we all have to think the same way. That's what I'm saying. Apart from race, genetic plays a bigger role in all of this. But you know, I was just trying to make sure that everybody have a fair, you know, what I mean, chance. Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't seem a bit fair, like the playing field. But
it's hard. It's hard sometimes. You know, what I mean, it's hard to really make sure that everybody see the same thing. You know, what I mean. But I'm glad you called, and I'm glad you put your you know.
It's a good show, and I'm just going to carry on listening for the last 20 minutes.
Nice one.
All right, then. All right. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
You know, I just want to quickly say, you see, just like how in this moment, you got nurses, you got transport strike, you got this strike, you got that strike. It's people saying, no, we've had enough. We want this, we want that. So what? That's why I'm saying,
Bruv, 20 years ago, I was saying, right, before the music gets to the level that it gets to, we should march on Sony, right?
Okay.
And put that out in the air. Nothing happened. Nobody suggested anything. Everybody's now moved to the monetary situation. Have to be a great person is to be led by a guy who's fairly dunce, yeah? Because remember, most of these men that are leading the way through music, they don't have no sense. What they get their senses and their direction from Jewish accountants or lawyers or people who attach themselves to them to sell back to their community poisonous lyrics, which they won't send to, they'll cater for, they'll account for, they'll give them advances for, but they won't do it for their own communities because they believe our community deserves to be talking about girls, you know, WAP. You know what I mean? Wet ass pussy and all that. And big men afraid of words which are less than, they're not even like bumbo hole or whatever.
Yeah, but no, I mean...
They're scared of words. Whilst the white man is pressing all these words on the television, and as soon as a black man gets on the television and he says F, and they'll remember, I've been doing this for years, so I know. They'll start fluffing around like they're scared of white people shutting them down because white people control the airwaves.
No. I mean,
what are you talking about?
Let me make this very clear. Because you see, Feferity really and truly is as independent as an individual will think of themselves. I.e. means that there's a different way to convey messages. You know, there are different ways to convey messages. So
and there are different ways to sing songs, right?
No. I'm saying is there are different ways to conduct messages, to give out messages. And here on Feferity, our listeners are not used to languages like that. So it is new for our listeners to be using those emphases, that's all. And we do conduct that because why? We're talking about maturity here. We want to show that we've grown. We want to show there are different vocabularies to use and to emphasize. Not personally, I'm saying, I'm just responding.
Yeah, but I've done that. I do that. These, unless the show is not free, like I've been on the television, it's the same. If
no, it's not about free.
No, what I'm saying, bruv, like that, I don't use... My intellectual eloquence is quite high. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to pronounce 5-6 syllable words. I know what they mean. So me using a colloquialism, so for instance, that's not properly fixed in our people's ears, I'll say shit or whatever, has nothing to do with my intelligence, has nothing to do with my ability to be a decent human being. But you've made it that, and so just like the word N-word that everybody wants, instead of saying we don't like using the term nigger, you say we don't using like a child.
No,
to me that's childish. But again, we have different views.
But that's not what I'm saying. Is as a radio station,
I hear you.
The people that have been listening to this for a very long time are not used to presenters emphasizing or using, you know what I mean? It's just what it is.
But you know,
and I think it's really not being white conditioned. It's about also for my upbringing personally as a man. You know, my upbringing, I choose not to.
That's fine.
Right. So if I am organizing something that I know I want to take people forward with me, here, I mean, Jim is a presenter here. Everybody can actually, they're themselves. But, you know, I mean, we cannot say, like, for example, if I don't use, because there are people who use languages like that, obscene, and they say they don't use it in front of their children, it's fine. But as a station, it's not something that we want to.
You're scared.
You have to respect that.
Yeah, what I'm saying,
you know,
is
because there are people who listen.
If I say penetration of the anus, it's still a problem. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say the same thing I'm saying, and it's still a problem.
No, that is.
So you don't want me to say nothing about that at all, then?
No.
That's fair.
No, I'm not. You see, everything can be said within context. That's all. And there's a text here. It's saying maturity. This is from Isabella. Good day to you, Isabella, and thanks for listening. And it says, maturity is a people who will live together, work together, grow together, support one another, and grow as one.
Yeah, just like the black community at the moment. Yeah, I get it. That, you know, I mean, like, it's always good to have these kind of examples. You know what I'm saying? But what we're saying, what we're talking about is an existential problem. A problem whereby people exist in a particular vacuum, yeah, where they sing songs about hatred and killing, and they celebrate songs of death, and they feel no way. Their remit for life is so narrow, and they sing songs about drinks of alcohol. They sing and celebrate songs about white goods, you know, whether it's to do with Gucci. There's one whole Afrobeat songs about nearly, you know, Ferragamo, Off-White, every name brand there is. They sing songs about, like, they're idolizing idols. And if you're Christian, if you have any Christian values in you, you become demonic. And I'm saying black music in Jamaica, black music and music in Africa would soon start to get like that, because it's starting to become more sexualized. Becomes demonic because you're following a romantic direction. But once you become embroiled in the English culture as a black man, and you start to embroil and start to put across English behavioralisms and English mannerisms, you believe that we're all the same. You forget that black people don't have the same rhythm. You forget they don't have the same nature. You forget sometimes they don't even have the same variations.
That could be opinion as well.
No, those are things that establish scientific facts.
I would say
if you don't research, you can't just say something's an opinion. If you say I don't know much about that, it sounds like an opinion. You can't say that is just an opinion, because these are written. You can Google it. These are written. People have written books saying black people They've written books saying black people are dumb. Haven't they?
Was that fact?
No, I support. I'm telling you about what's out there.
Yeah.
Right. So a fact is something that's written down and provable, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not always right, though, because you can prove something by tricking someone. So
you can say, for example,
you're trying to dumb the argument.
No, I'm not dumbing it. I'm not dumbing it. I saw
saying,
something.
Is that a fact? Like, I'm saying, what we can see is evolving in front of us. We don't have to know the
But again, it's not wrong to say that black people are the most dumbest people, because in Africa, for example, I was watching Dr. Gregory, the physician, the scientist. In terms of genetics,
Jamaica has won a robotics competition.
In any case, we are not the most.
No, in terms of genetics,
I'm saying
it's not really like something that is negative. I'm just saying, if you can find the most intelligent people, then you can find also the most dumb. It's not like something negative or wrong. It's just what it is.
Bruv, if no, it isn't. They for hundreds of years they had us reading books upside down. Don't let's not be silly about this. They had us reading books upside down. They said we were dumb. They promote books that said we were dumb, that we were least intelligent. They had books that said we were like animals and monkeys. Let's not play dumb.
But I was in there.
Yeah,
this is the same Kanye West. Kanye West make the same example that, you know.
That's because you're an individual about your individualism. That's what you're about.
But what he's saying as well is completely something similar to that.
How is it that he's saying that the Jews control most of black activity? Is that a fact or not?
No, but he's saying most black people are saying talking about slavery, but really and truly.
He said that slavery was a choice, which is rubbish. But that doesn't mean when he said something else.
Because now we're here talking about, like, as if to say directly or indirectly, we're making references as if we actually, you know what I mean? But whilst we are in the position to work together, to live together, to grow together, and that hasn't been happening.
There's no leadership around any of those issues.
So then we're talking like past participle, where we're making it sound like we're
they've made you. The European
slaves.
has made you think you can love yourself.
No,
the European has made you think you can develop your rite of passage yourself. This is why the European's telling you that a man with a dick is a girl. You understand? Because you're in that system.
Hold on a minute.
So you cannot conflag.
This again, I mean, you see, I think what we're saying here is like,
we're living in a society that is not conducive to our
development
in all of that.
Okay.
Right.
So let's find ways to fight, knowing that's in place. Instead of keep having these make-believe fairy stories about what we can and cannot do. If we focus on what the real story is, somehow, you know, like if you say to yourself, you know, I'm going to stop that rat coming through that hole, but all you're doing is sticking paper in it and it's biting through the paper. Yeah, as the moment you realize it bites through the paper, then you create something else to stop it. Like you put polyfiller. You get what I'm saying? Something that's going to do the right thing. If 15 years worth of I'm going to do my own, I'm going to start a charity there, or 25 years, or 30 years of that being done hasn't reached any real significant place, why do you have these guys still coming out and saying what we need to do is start a charity, saying da da da? That's a sign of madness. That's what I'm trying to say. You're not mature. You're not looking at what you've been doing for the past. You want to say, oh, look, I've got a great idea. What we should do is have a solution. What, the solution that you tried to bring up when 20 years ago? So you want me to now, 23 years into the future, listen to that all over again and not complain and not cut you and not say nothing? That would make me dumb.
Okay. I mean, we've got about 6 minutes to go, Dr. X. Let me ask you, in terms of the maturity of the black man in the 21st century, your conclusion is that...
My observation.
We haven't come to closest to be matured.
No, we're not. We don't. Yeah, because most of the things that you need to understand, most of the what's happened to us over the years, you haven't seen as experience. These people do not want you to get in with it. If otherwise, the Black Wall Street would have been years ago. They got Atlanta, and there's the most gays there. They have a society that's always been gay, right or wrong? The European society has always had homosexuality and pedophilic practices as a fundamental part of their culture.
It doesn't.
True or false? This is the question I'm asking. So I've asked the question or
but
ignore
we're talking about...
No, but see, you're ignoring it. So are you going to answer the question or you're not going to answer the question?
I don't know if that's all true.
But it's true though.
No, I don't know if that's all true.
Have you ever?
Because
you don't research, you're just chatting.
No, if we're talking about slavery,
you're just chatting.
If we're talking about slavery, if you are saying that we are slavery, we were there, then these behaviors, can you assume that these behaviors are part of those who are slaves?
I didn't say that.
No, if we were slaves, no, I'm saying if we were slaves.
You can't just cut what I'm saying and start a whole other subject,
this is just one particular thing.
I asked you a question, right? And you've avoided the question and started your own.
I said I don't know if it's all of it because then
I said there is documentation in the history museums. There's documentation and fabric evidence, not fabricated, but evidence that says that the Romans and the Greeks.
Yeah.
Before Christianity, and even within Korea, they practice as they're higher ups, they're elites.
Right.
That means the rulers of the country practice pedophilia, right, and homosexuality.
Let's say that's the case. I mean,
let's say that's the case. That's a fact.
On a minute. I mean, we have to have a conversation.
Yeah, but you're saying something that's the case, and it's like me saying, let's say that Jimmy's sitting here. Jimmy's sitting here. You can't say let's say that.
No, but hold on a minute. I mean, you can't dismiss what I'm saying either.
Yes, I can because it's not. It's established. If it's established,
no, but I'm saying
it's
also
not alleged.
Let me land.
It's not alleged.
What is established? The behavior of the masters. Earlier on, I asked you the different types. You said sellout. We're not going to the slave. No, but what I'm saying is the behavior. If you are saying that, which of course is documented, is right, but you cannot avoid the fact that these people who have been conditioned and enslaved, that behavior of those people who have enslaved them is not part of those children who've been enslaved.
I don't know what you said. I really don't. You'd have to break it down again. Cause I don't
well, maybe it's another day we can do that. Another day we can do that. But again, my point here is, like I said, in all of those human tragedies that have happened to people of the world, and especially black people, African people, I mean, you can see each steps we've been taking to progress and to develop either the individual or the group of people. And where we are now, what I'm saying is, in terms of a collective of, if you want to say UK or London, there is a lot of progress being made for black people to understand that there is possibility that it can work, it can be possible. Now, if there is no solution to what has been done before, then there will never be any solution. Now we're, as African, globally, because this is a world football, is entering into the 21st century, a team in Africa entering into the semi-finals. Never been done before. Now, what they say...
Never been a black president before. What are you talking about, bro?
I'm saying. What has been said before about African teams, about corruption, not matured, now we've seen how Morocco, are dealing with it. So these are all examples on a global scale.
That's rubbish.
It's not rubbish. It's not rubbish. If you
about?
don't recognize the little thing that's been going on.
That's not what we're talking about.
But you can't see the bigger picture then.
Right, no, you can't see the bigger picture.
No, but the bigger
You don't
picture-
know half of the stuff that I'm talking about.
No, but out of
You're fixated on one, like you're saying that Morocco. How the hell does Morocco come into it? You're saying
Because
that there's
on a
never
generally, what
generally
we've
there's
been
never
put
been a black.
under-
Generally, there's never been a black president. Generally, there's never been a mayor of New York. Generally, there's never been a Pakistani. So yes, there are things happening. That is not what we're talking about. Where have you gone with this?
Okay, well, we're going to continue this again at some point. I mean, we're going to continue this sense of maturity. But I want to say thank you very much, because otherwise we're going to be cutting off anyway into the break. Well, thank you very much for coming, Dr. X.
Excellent.
Jimmy?
We'll do it again.
It's an interesting topic.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do this again. But I don't want us to go over the time.
No,
we'll
that's
go over a
fine.
few seconds.
Excellent. That's radio
All right.
for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, thank everybody for actually coming, for
Thanks
your
to all the
contribution.
listeners.
I might not have actually read all of your texts on YouTube, but they're going to be there for people to comment. And by listening again, you can still comment and leave your comment on the radio page. But thank you very much, X, for coming in. Doc X.
Doc X. Remember, the name is
It's
Doc
been
X.
unveiled here today, actually, on this show, Doc X. So thank you very much for coming in.
See ya.
Say yeah. That's
Rise
right.
up.
Thank you very much.
Are we cut off now or what?
For verity.